Here we are today. This is January 18th, 1991, at the Museum of Flying. This is where, on display, they have the Douglas Round the World airplanes that Grandpa Horn worked on. And we're bringing Grandma to get the story. This is the location where Douglas had their aircraft company. This is the east, or the north side of the runway. The runway right behind this particular museum. Here we are inside the museum. And there's Grandma checking out all the stuff. There's a picture of the...
There's Daddy right there. Oh, God. He's right there. Right there. You see?
Yeah.
It's just below the guy. Tall white hair. The guy's got his arm out, and I'll remember that when I get home. See if we got the same fellow. And his very dear friend, this is the guy that was so close to him.
The guy on the end there, Grandma?
What, dear?
The guy on the end?
Yeah, that's me. I can't think of his name. I'd have to look in my book. Yeah, I used to know those guys. About a half a dozen of them. I used to say who they were.
There's the Wilshire plant. Now, did he work at Wilshire?
Yeah, that's where he went to work.
Well, let's see if he's in this one.
$3 an hour, I think he got.
He's the guy that with a funny cap that
Could be
Daddy, but
he used to wear a cap like that.
he used to wear caps like that, but it's pulled down too far. I can't really see.
You see anything you recognize, Grandma, or anything you can explain?
Oh, dear.
Do you see anything you can explain or recognize?
It was about the time when because we got married in 25, and he was working for him then. And this is 24, so I had 3 now looking to see. They were in there.
Well, he wouldn't have gone to the banquet.
No, I don't think so.
Well, I mean,
Well, that was, well,
this is the banquet.
Yeah.
Banquet to
For the
World
World Flyers.
Flyers, given by citizens of Santa Monica, Miramar Hotel. You don't remember?
I looked to see if Daddy was there. He was gone.
These guys are all, they've got all uniforms on. All of these guys have uniforms on.
Model of around the world. There's number 4 to the New Orleans.
The number in?
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, just sit right there. That's good. Now, what I'd like you to do, Grandma, is tell us about the day that you went to see this, if you can remember.
We just stood out there in the field and watched him go.
Well,
What happened before
We
that?
watched
the
him
day.
come home. We didn't get to go see him go off.
Mother, you watched him take off because your own mother wouldn't let you go. Now tell that story.
Remember that story?
Yeah. Oh, I think it was a Sunday morning, wasn't it? Well, anyway, I just remember that Herb and I made up our mind we were going to see the planes off. Although my mother told me I couldn't go. But we went. We went to the field and parked. Got out there and stood in the wind and the sun. And saw them take off, which was a big thrill. And then the biggest thrill was when we were there when they come home. We saw them fly in. Of course, at that time, it was only 3 of them because number 1 had to stay in Seattle or someplace. He didn't get to go around the world with them. So it was,
Now, when were you able to get your picture taken right next to number 1?
well, that was the day they had them on display for everybody to look at before they left.
Uh-huh.
And they had a, well, I guess they call it open house at the field. So everybody was there, hundreds and hundreds of people. And I was so proud to be able to get a picture taken by, well, particularly after it was the one that didn't get to go around the world, but I did get a picture taken by standing by number 1. So that was something that we didn't know was going to happen.
Yeah.
How come you and Daddy were so interested in watching these planes take off?
Well, your father had built the gas and oil tanks for the planes.
Now, how long had he worked for Douglas when they...
Oh,
Well, he went in 19...
well, he went to work for Douglas in 23. So I guess it had been a year or so. They went off in 24, didn't they?
I believe so.
And it was a big thrill in those days because anytime you could see a plane take off, it was a thrill. It wasn't like it is today where they take off every 2 minutes. No trick to it at all anymore.
And all 4 of them took off at the same time? And
Yeah, one after the other. You got to see them up in the air. Well, they were, as far as we could see them, they were just little dots. The same way when they come home. We'd hear the motors first, and then we looked to see where they were coming. And pretty soon here they were. A real thrill. I could stand in those days. Thank the Lord. We used to stand and watch for them. Then later, when we bought pictures that was taken that day, Herb had to have pictures of everything. Thank the Lord, he was camera conscious. So I've got memories that I look at once with him. And I feel like today, I still see one of them. Can't believe where it's been. It's so wonderful.
pretty amazing, isn't it?
Keeping him so well preserved. That's what's just such a thrill. leave anytime.
No, this is fun.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
September 23rd, 1924. 3 Army aircraft and 6 weary flyers land at Santa Monica's
September the
Clover
23rd.
Field. 200,000 Angelinos flood the field, welcoming them home from their 6-month, 27,000-mile odyssey around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Conceived to give America's fledgling air service experience in a variety of flying conditions, the round-the-world flight also emphasizes the importance of air power to a reluctant nation trying to forget the war to end all wars. The Army approaches the builder of a successful Navy torpedo plane, a promising manufacturer named Donald Douglas, working with designers at the small Douglas Aircraft Factory here in Santa Monica, to modify the torpedo plane for the demands of the world flight. Powered by 12-cylinder Liberty engines, the 5 Douglas World Cruisers weigh over 4 tons each. The prototype serves as a spare. Sturdy and reliable, the planes can switch between conventional landing gear and floats for water landings. Each plane carries 2 crewmen. Major Frederick Martin is in command with Sergeant Alva Harvey as his mechanic. The other 3 pilots are the best in the Army Air Service: Lieutenants Lowell Smith, Lee Wade, and Derek Nelson, with their hand-picked mechanics, Leslie Arnold, Henry Ogden, and Jack Harding. 3 of the 4 World Cruisers depart Clover Field on March 17, 1924. The 4th, fresh from the factory, catches up later in Seattle, the official starting point of the world flight. There they are christened the Seattle, Chicago, Boston, and New Orleans. Advanced teams are scattered along their route to arrange landing sites, supplies, fuel, parts, and other needs. The 4 aircraft set out from Seattle on April 4th and head north. They skim for hours just above the waves, trying to keep below a dense fog. Undaunted, they press forward to the Aleutians. Major Martin is delayed in Alaska by mechanical problems and falls behind the rest of the flyers. He sets off later in bad weather, only to crash land on an Alaskan mountainside. Martin and his mechanic Alva Harvey reach civilization after 10 days, but they're out of the flight. The War Department orders the other planes to press on with Lieutenant Smith in command. The flyers are greeted warmly by cheering crowds and curious spectators. But their path across Asia and the Middle East is marred by accidents. Adverse weather conditions, seized engines, overheated radiators, and disease.
I'm surprised they made it at all.
These tests behind them, the World Cruisers reached Le Bourget Field in France on July 14th, Bastille Day. Excited Parisians mobbed the aviators and their airplanes in an enthusiastic greeting. After a stop in London, the World Cruisers tackled the North Atlantic. It will be the first east-to-west flight by airplanes. En route, the Boston suffers an engine failure and makes a successful water landing. The Boston is lost when it capsizes and sinks while in tow by a Navy cruiser. Lieutenant Wade and Sergeant Ogden used a prototype spare and rejoined the flight in Nova Scotia. The journey down the East Coast includes stops in Boston and New York. President Coolidge and his cabinet greet them on their arrival in Washington, D.C. All across America, the aviators are welcomed as heroes. On September 23rd, accompanied by Boston 2, Chicago and New Orleans return here to Clover Field. The Douglas Aircraft Company is forever changed by this flight. The phrase "first around the world" is added to the company logo, a testimony to pioneering imagination and ruggedness in design. Santa Monica honors the World Cruisers. The city seal is altered to include silhouettes of the Chicago and the New Orleans to commemorate the trailblazing flight. In 363 hours of flying time, having covered more than 27,000 miles, they spanned the globe. The first aviators and the machines to circumnavigate the Earth by air.
This is the New Orleans. Let's do it. California,
They
they went to
started
Seattle.
Well, they took off in Santa Monica.
Yeah, but then they met up in Seattle and went off.
Here, huh? And then they went from Seattle this way, huh?
France, across the Atlantic, Greenland. Here's a model of the racer that Grandpa went to work for Hughes to build the oil tanks and the gas tanks for. And then also, there's a model of the Spruce Goose, which Grandpa was involved with as shop superintendent when that started building.
And this is the one Daddy went back to Connecticut to inspect.
Built that thing.
He went back to
He inspected as they were building. He's had 10 or 12 of his men working with the other guys while they were building that place. And when they came home, Howard decided it was too slow. Never get around the world in that and make a record. He just knew he didn't go a record.
We were lucky the day we landed there and taxied up to Hughes Aircraft. I remember standing out there and watching.
And that's the racer that you got to see?
That's the racer you got to see. You got privilege to go and look at the little racer.
You said you got to go see it on a Sunday?
Glendale, yeah.
And that's the H1.
I'm looking to see what they call it. They call it the monoplane. I don't think I ever told it yet. That
Was set out to get the plane ready to come back, and all that litigation went on for a month. And he hung around, and so my roommate, he said, well, why don't you come on up and live with us, like, you know, see. And so he came up the last 2 weeks, like, you know, see. That was typical Howard Hughes. Sent him out, he didn't even have no clothes or anything, like, you know, see, to take with it on an hour's notice, you know, to get going.
Just get going and go.
Yeah,
Huh?
and he bought clothes there as well as that. And so we was pretty close together. 73, they stayed in the same room right across from us in Phoenix, like, you know, see, his girlfriend, she was around the world. She was a very good newspaper editor, not exactly editor, but all we call these guys, you know.
A writer or something?
Well, no, for picking up news all around.
Oh.
And we got acquainted. But very much, and I always contacted him when I get into town here.
That was Ed Lund.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
London, because he had a pretty good joke. Oh yeah, he had a
Here it says hangar
business.
has its ghost tales. Howard Hughes' spirit may haunt the old office. Remember out here on Hollywood Way and just by the railroad track out there.
Oh yeah, it's, believe it or not, it's
Pacific,
Ed-
Hollywood Way and Pacific. That's the corner. Pacific and Hollywood Way.
If this Ed Lund went into business, I know I tried to sell him a water garbage disposal on water pond. Just
Yeah.
People didn't have the same pressure around. See. Not everybody had 65, 70 pounds.
Yeah,
pressure.
right.
He had to just bend over a little bit. We could have known what his name
I'll
was.
be darned. Boy, that face, he's tall. I know he was
No,
tall.
he was tall.
Yeah.
Because Herb's tall, and look at him.
The other, see, Dick Stoddard, we got very close together, like, you know, see,
Oh, that's
I know
another
his
name I
business,
forgot.
he was around.
Stoddard.
He was a radio operator.
Mm.
They were under cloud cover a lot of times.
Yeah.
Boy, some of the things he told me about
Oh.
Howard, like, say,
Dick Stoddard.
that deal there, that was so skimpy on weight, like, deal. And beside the head was there, and then there a little couch to sleep on, like,
Yeah.
So he says, well, could we have a
Good
curtain here? How much it weighs? He says, well, we can get it down just a hardly a little pound and a quarter, too much, like, say. So they had to sleep there with somebody sitting on the head.
On the head.
He says, believe it or not, he says, I got a world's record, but I can't publicize it. He went around the world without having a mouthful. Yeah, it's not it. We went down to Mexico quite a bit. Oh, I met him through your grandfather. There, I transferred to Kansas City back out to Burbank. And our hangar here, Howard Hughes, is right across the way there, getting his Lockheed set up for around the world. And your grandma was working on it, like, see that conversion. So Herb took me around there at lunchtime and showed me all through the thing and everything. And I met this Dick Stoddard, like, say, darn if he didn't look me up after he went into his own business, like, say, he found out that I was in him, and well, during the war, he almost went into bankruptcy. We never bothered him. We only owed $4,000 or $5,000, but everybody else started putting the clamps on him and close him up. He never forgot that, like, see, he went and sold him up everything, and the purchaser had to me first on anything like it. If I turned down, when I sold my business, believe it or not, he had the same ruling with the new company that took over. He says, I didn't want them to default on your payments, and that was very true. I complimented, like last night, we had a big employees award dinner, and they always invite me a #1 employee, we had 400 there.
Great.
Yeah, and this was way back 8, 10 years ago. That I complimented Jack in front of his board of directors, different high ups there. You never faltered on one of your payments, like, but if it wasn't for your Dick Stoddard, I would have, say. We had always some work doing for him. We'd get it down there in the morning. I'd call him up, can I bring an invoice down? And he always paid it off, get it out.
Paid it off, yeah.
And if it wasn't for your Dick Stoddard, like, see, I would have. And darn it, well, he passed away in 1970, but we went back and forth to Mexico, sometimes 3 times a year. And he had a twin Bonanza. Lockheed had it. And everything, you could buy it on the panel at that time, like glide slope and all that stuff like that. See, it was quite a deal. So, but that's Ed London through that group there.
Okay.
So
Great.
anytime you want to, oh, here's Herb and his pipe.
Yeah, that's the very first one.
Yeah, I don't ever remember
Very first.
the pipe.
There's his,
Well, Grandma, would you kind of tell us how he got started at Douglas again?
Yeah.
And then introduce maybe who we have.
Yeah, where are you going to have the mic at, or can you
It's all being picked up. We're all starting to go. So.
You know, can you pick up enough?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So maybe, Grandma, you can just tell us who your dear friend is here with us, and then we'll go from there.
my friend.
Yeah, I come to
I was
live.
gonna say,
It was,
when did we?
it was
first
from about,
meet you?
it was around May, it was around May or June in
I
1928.
I just didn't remember, I just remember we lived on Burbank Boulevard.
Yeah, May, it was in May
And,
of that year.
You needed a place to stay out
Yeah.
here, you were living in Hollywood or someplace.
Yeah, that's right.
And you
that-
came to live with us, and you had your 21st birthday at our house, I remember.
That's right.
We threw him a party,
Well, that was, yeah.
and he grew a mustache, so he looked older to get a job. I'll never forget that. Got a kick out of that one. Oh, golly, I
Are you taping now?
Yeah.
don't know where to go from here. Now, let's see, what's next?
Well, what's his name? What's our
Oh, Herman
friend?
Zero.
Herman Zero.
Herman Zero, which was an odd name. I'd never heard of a Zero before. I had to learn how to spell it, and it was hard to say because I wasn't used to saying that.
And Grandpa gave him his first job. Is that
Yeah, as
correct?
far as I know.
Aircraft.
Yeah.
Aircraft job.
And like I say, he was living in Hollywood, and to be closer to Lockheed after we moved over here, when Lockheed moved to Burbank, why, he moved out with us and stayed, I guess, until you got married, wasn't it?
No, I
I can't, that
stayed.
part I don't remember.
I stayed through 1929, and I was going all the way over to Western and 94th and Western, driving that far, like yes. And so I left you, and the drive was getting too much, like yes.
Yeah.
See, I was working for Jack Fry, who was Air Corp that way. We were building dusters, and then well, if you the Western Air took us over after the stock crash in '29, and we got into financial trouble there, and so we were working for Western Air. And believe it or not, in the meantime, your grandfather was working for Western Air for a certain length of time. After he had left Lockheed, you know, worked for Western Air for a while. And
Worked for Western Air before Lockheed, wasn't it?
no, it was after Lockheed. See,
Well, what was on Wilshire Boulevard?
that was Douglas.
That was Douglas.
That was Douglas.
Right, then from
That
Douglas-
ended in 1926 with your.
Then from
with
Douglas
her.
he went to Western Air.
No, for Douglas, he went to Lockheed in Hollywood.
Lockheed
That's
in
right.
Hollywood. And that's how you got into the picture.
That's right, yeah. And it was on the first 2-3 days of January, 1928.
Well, that's probably in the book here. if
Yeah,
you're
so that's what was
looking
started.
through it.
Well, he initially started working for Douglas in 1923, right? Somewhere in there.
24,
That's right,
because we got
19.
married in 25.
No, it was
And-
23. We got that picture that's got him in it. It was dated June 23, so. Yeah. So anyway, what was the story with your mom telling him to get a job, or?
Well, and
Really?
she said, we were coming home from Los Angeles one afternoon, I don't know what we were down there for, and we were coming out Wilshire Boulevard, and this big black building sitting there, and somehow or other we knew it was an aircraft factory, but we didn't know who it was because there was no name or anything. So Mother just said, why don't you stop, go in and see if you can get a job, you're a good mailman, maybe they can use you. A half hour later, we're sitting out there in that car. Here he come ambling out, walking out Carterwise to the street, to the road. It wasn't a street in those days. Wilshire Boulevard was just a road. And he'd gotten the job. So we were thrilled to death. Well, that's how he happened to get with them.
And then he worked for Douglas till about 26. you
Yeah.
mentioned. And then you said he didn't.
He was asking for $1 an hour, and they wouldn't give it to him at that time, so he quit.
So he quit, and then
And
that's.
how he found Lockheed in Hollywood, that's the point I can't remember.
Well, yeah, Herb told me, this is Tony Stadelman, was working for, had worked for Alan Lockheed, and then he was over at Douglas for a short time. And then when Alan started on this new design Vega airplane that Jack Northrop designed in Hollywood, Tony Stadelman asked him to join him over to Hollywood.
Over to Hollywood.
And a couple others went with him too on that. And that's how they started on this Vega, which was altogether new design from what everything Al and Lockheed had built
Well,
in
I
the
think
past.
he's the one then that said, I have a good metal man for you.
Yeah, and
that's how we got in touch
that-
with her.
then they built the Golden, they called
Eagle.
the first plane, they called it the Golden Eagle.
Yeah.
And it was entered into, in 1927 in August, it was entered into the Pineapple Derby, the Dole flight they call it.
To Hawaii.
This Dole, big pineapple plantation owner in Hawaii put up a $25,000 prize. The first one to fly nonstop for into Honolulu from San Francisco, and had to be the first commercial one. See, first commercial. Now,
First commercial flight.
yeah, the first commercial flight. Nobody had flown at all, you know, see.
I've never done that before.
Yeah, and I knew this Ernie Smith. Later, he worked as a pilot for TWA, and he was entering into this flight, but he wanted to be the first one or win the prize. But the military got a plane, a Fokker plane, all set up in a hurry, and to beat him out on it, which they did, and made the flight in from into Honolulu. So the military was actually the first one to make a nonstop flight in.
to
But
win
it
the
wasn't
prize.
commercial, like, you know, and
Yeah.
it wasn't entered into the prize, but it denied Ernie Smith from making this flight, like, you know.
Yeah,
say.
and the glory of it.
Yeah, see. And but this Ernie Smith went out the same day, and his navigator, the story goes, his navigator opened up a hatch to make a sight back on for reference when he was navigating. They could still see the going in, and the wind happened to get in and tore some of the linen back, and it touched the tail. But story, Ernie wanted to go ahead with the flight anyhow, but the navigator says, we're turning back, like, you know, see. So that entered, he wanted to beat the Army into that, like, you know. And he had Reese was the name of the designer that designed his plane. It looked very much like a Cessna that come out later, like, you know, see. But that old flight, the Lockheed called the Golden Eagle, entered into. It was an open cockpit, and I have pictures of it, like, you know, see. And they were judged they were the fastest plane. The plane was supposed to cruise at somewhere around 145 to 155.
Wow.
And all the other planes were a lot less, like, you know, see, with that. And Scott was a navigator, and Frost was the pilot, like, you know, see. Jack Frost was the pilot. And so Scott was the navigator. But all the investigation they made of this Lockheed, timing was practically right on the button, that they heard a plane going over a cloud formation over the islands. And they believed that was him, like, you know, see, that went over because their timing schedule was clouded over. And he didn't have any instrument rating or anything, but that was it. And this Scott was a navigator. His brother I worked with, like, you know, see, and he worked with it, and he made 2 trips over there, and they went all up and down all those islands looking for this Lockheed, like, you know, see.
Was it the Golden Eagle that they built down
In Hollywood.
Well,
They built it in Hollywood.
they built that one in Hollywood?
Yeah, and that was the end of the Golden Eagle, like, you know, see.
So it crashed over.
Well, they never did find it. They figured he went all over, run out of gas.
I see.
Yeah, and then they had it
With the
ditched.
Frost as the pilot.
Yeah, Jack Frost was the pilot. And see that.
Now, when you went to work at Lockheed, can you tell a story about how you met Grandpa and what transpired there?
Tony Stadelman hired me as a helper for in the middle department, like, you know, see. And your grandpa was in charge, like, you know, he was a foreman. And there was only one other beside, that's right, there was only one other beside myself, and he was Keith Hiley. And so that was made up of 3 of us. And so we moved in the middle of, I'll mention this again, I bought some tools the first week I was there. And because, and I accidentally set the rolls too tight because I didn't know much about how to handle aluminum. And I stretched these parts. We were making up 25 parts. And so they had to be discarded. And your grandpa, he was just ready to discard me. But yeah, I had already put $10 out for tools that he felt was sorry about
for you.
that. So everything went along good. And because this Keith Hiley did not watch what I was doing, in that which he was supposed to take care of setting these rolls. But your grandpa and I, we got along very good because I always talked to pay very much.
He followed rules. He knew what to do about how good everything had to be.
Yeah, that's right. I was 19 then, and I followed everything through, and we got very busy, like, you know, during, I know in 28, we built the Yankee Doodle. That was the first wasp-powered frigate. And Earl Halliburton was next in line to get his, but he was getting the smaller engine because he didn't even know they were going to build one with a wasp in it, I gotta see, which put it up to about 160 miles an hour cruising.
How'd you pronounce that name?
Earl Halliburton.
Halliburton.
Yeah, that was his. His was practically a
Taking
number
these names
4.
down, 'cause their names I don't
Number
remember.
4 OX5 engine
Mhm.
airplane. That plane was designed for the OX5. No, wait a minute. Right Whirlwind. Right Whirlwind. Yeah, 225 horsepower Right Whirlwind.
That was the motor.
No,
Was it?
excuse me, that's all about that OX5. That's always on my mind. But we had overtime to put in, and I worked always a lot of overtime with you, like practically all overtime with him. And he was paid for the hour, and so was I paid for the hour. And so everything in this other particular party always had Keith Hiley. He didn't want to work some overtime or much, but anyhow, your grandpa and I, he showed me all these different ways how to form metal. We had to make special blisters out on the outside over metal to cover up pipes that were setting down for dump valves. For long distance flight was the number 1 was the Yankee Doodle was set for making long distance flight from New York, from LA to New York. And so we had to make these blisters like you to cover up their little things that set outside to give it more speed. And I know that's the first I got into, you know how to bump aluminum, like stretch aluminum. And your grandpa used to let me rough them out, like, you know, see, that was the start of it. And then he used to go, and I always watched him very much. So as we went along different overtime, and I could see what he was doing, I know he needed another tool, different tool, and I would see it at a distance away, pick it up and bring it over to him. And he made the remark, he says, "I wish I had more like you." So that's how he appreciated me.
Yeah.
And so because this other fellow never did seem to, he had almost a year's seniority on me, but he never seemed to want to be taught anything. And that was the main reason. And then your grandpa let me work on windshields and then moved me on to bumping these here blisters out, like, you know, see, all different metal parts. I had a little experience on the gas tank, but that was the production end of the airplane, like, you know, see it. And that's where this other party, Keith Hardy, stayed on gas tanks, like, you know, see, where I had practically a month on gas tanks. Then my other stuff was all on the other specialized stuff, the windshields and the spinner on over the propeller to cut out for the blades. And we had fairing underneath the wing, and we had to stretch that. We had a wood form for that, and how to stretch that over the wood form, like, you know, see. And then around the stabilizer in the back, we also had bumped out aluminum stretch for the top and the bottom that stretched a lot, because that stabilizer was adjustable up and down. And so it was quite a straight. It had a tail cone too, and we had to make the cutouts for that, and all the drilling that went on, and the light was in the rear. So I had quite a varied experience on all different parts of the Lockheed. But it's something pretty hard to believe that when in the middle of 1928 summer, we built Wally Post's airplane too, like, you know, see. He hung around there all day long and night too, like, you know, watching us. And we had
I always said I raised my kids by myself.
yeah, because we were working, believe it, 16 hours a day.
If you got
Sundays
paid,
we
we'd
cut
be
it down to,
millionaires, we got paid to the hour.
yeah,
Or it
Sunday we
wasn't.
cut it down to 10 hours, like you see. And so that's when your grandpa made the step, would you want to move in with us? Us, like you see, the wife and I says, I'd gladly like to, like you see. So that's, you know, well, it's time I beat it back, to LA, I wouldn't get much sleep, you know, see.
Yeah.
Back, working out 16-hour day. We were paid every 2 weeks, and I drew on 50, no time and a half. I drew $165 for 2 weeks' pay. So you can figure out the hours.
Yeah, that's 16
It probably
hours a day.
was a 15-day deal in there, you know, something like a 15-day deal.
Yeah.
But you figure out the hours
Wow.
put in. But it was all, of course, these races were going pretty regular, beating each other's time into New York.
Yeah.
And,
Is that the Bendix and the Thompson and some of those? Is that what you're referring
well,
to?
that's right. That was the Bendix.
The Dole flight was the first one, that's
Yeah,
all
that's
it
that was the first long distance flight for
is.
price.
Non-stop.
Yeah, but then every year they had the Bendix flight nonstop from LA to New York, like you see. But this Yankee Doodle, it went on its own. A guy named Tucker was a guy that was furnished the money for it. He flew with it, like you see, with a pair of crutches, like you see. He wanted to learn to fly, and 3 weeks before his airplane was finished, he wanted to see he sold another airplane that he bought to learn to fly with, because money was no question with him. But at the end of 4 hours, he took it off himself and crash landed and broke a leg pretty bad. So he had crutches on this flight that he made on that record to New York. And so
Now you're talking about
Which airplane?
Art Goebel was
Art Goebel?
Art Goebel flew this here Yankee Doodle, and I was in the middle of summer, 1928, and
Was he
already
the one who used to fly with the
Art
lion,
Goebel,
the little lion cub? Was he
uh,
the one that had the lion cub?
no, that was Roscoe Turner.
That was Rob.
See, and he had, I'll get it, he had a Lockheed for a long time, like, you know, see, after.
I remember we
His
went
was
out
one
and saw it.
with called a high wing deal, with real short struts, and he could had the cockpit in the rear, and that way it was a little bit better deal they had, and so that cabin had a little more room. Otherwise, the cockpit was awful narrow, and this Lockheed Vega.
On the Vega.
Yeah, and they had another wealthy guy from New York came in and wanted the big engine put in there. And so your grandpa and I, we had quite a bit of extra metal work to put this, all the cowling, we had to make in with all those louvers, firewall, you had
Yeah, I've got pictures there.
firewall with asbestos lined inside of it, like, but the rudder was so cramped in a cockpit, the rudder pedals had to go up into close to the engine, like, you know, see, on a normal Pratt Whitney was 400 horsepower engine, but when the 600 horse engine was put in there, we didn't have any extra room, because right pedal was on number 5 cylinder, and the other was on number 7 cylinder, and we don't want room. We had to have another 3/4 inch, so they had to change the on down below so as to get the movement back on the rudder. It was so cramped in there, like this. That Lockheed, Jack Northrop was an expert on that, which designed all that. He tried to discourage them on that, and he says, you'll only pick up about 7-8 miles an hour, and you're got this extra weight, the engine and everything, and but they went ahead with it anyhow at the price of $30,000, that whole airplane. But the patent was signed and delivered in 30 days, like you know, see.
30 days they were able to make
30
Yankee
days
Doodle.
it flew, like you know, see. So we were working all this overtime and get this out for it. And Harry K. Thaw That's right. Harry K. Thaw was one that was furnishing the money for him. And you know, probably old history, they pretty wealthy were. They were quite in the news in a bad light there through some accidental murder that happened. But anyhow, the money came through for that. But Jack Northup was very positive on that, and that's all they did accumulate. Like, you know, see, 7 miles an hour. But,
So this Northrop actually worked for Lockheed initially.
that's right, yeah. And see, then he left Lockheed, and shortly after that, he left Lockheed and went building his own metal airplane, see. And Jack Northup had in his mind his flying wing, see. And when I was hired and worked with your grandpa, like, you know, he was my boss, I was underneath a wing, and that was Jack Northup's wing, of small. It was practically not over about 35 feet, and that was his small design of a flying wing. And it was all the ribs were there, and the wing was fully finished, but no linen on it.
No cover.
And but that was a flying wing, like, you know, see. And so but I don't know what ever happened to that, like, you know, see. But when Jack Northup left Lockheed stock really took off, and I know your grandpa and I, we got all kinds of literature that we could purchase stock, like, you know, see. Being young as I was, and I don't know if your grandpa purchased anything, but I purchased some preferred stock because common stock didn't sound right to me, like, you know, see. And I purchased a few dollars worth, was around $100 worth at that time. But believe it or not, the common stock was around $5. And that saved in 6 months' time, that stock went up to $88. Like,
Wow.
because Lockheed was making 2 or 3 world records, like, you know, see. Everybody wanted a Lockheed, like, you know, see.
They all wanted to get on the gravy train.
That's right, they were really good. And it was over-the-counter stock, and they run it up to $88, like, and it stayed up there too until the stock crash,
Yeah.
like, you know, see, happened in '29, and but no, that was quite an airplane, and Jack Northup really never did get really all right, you know, credit for it. But he went building a low-wing all metal. With a open cockpit and held 4 passengers. But the stock crash came along, and he only had a couple finished, and he couldn't sell them, you know, see. So in 1930, we formed TWA, Western Air, part of Western Air and TAT. We made TWA, and we bought all these planes of his at a pretty marked down figure, all except one of them. And but he built 14 of them, so we had 13 of them, and they were all metal and all new type construction, which he was a forerunner of all construction for Boeing, copied from that. And the DC-2, we patterned specifications for the DC-1 from his Northup, single engine Northup. We copied them because we had 10 or 11 of them at the time. We wrote up the specifications for the DC-1, and we put everything down as all that type of construction we wanted Douglas to follow. And there was very little, practically no change at all made. And Jack Northup was back at Douglas again. He served 1 year up he was hard up in regards to work. He served 1 year up at Boeing, and they built the 247, which was quite an advanced aircraft. His type of construction was that, but their main fault was of it. They had to put the spar right through the cabin. The passengers had to step over a 12, 14-inch cabin, and had to duck their head at the same time, and it only held 10, you know, see. And DC-1 come along, we wrote it up for 12, because the engine they were going to put in that 247 was a Hornet engine, Pratt & Whitney Hornet, it was very unreliable. It was very not reliable at all. The pilots, United Airlines, which was all one company, Boeing and United Airlines was all one company, that they said that we won't fly them if you put the Hornet engine in. So they had to back down and put the smaller engine in there, the Wasp, and that made a smaller airplane out of it. But anyhow, when we come out with the DC-1, it was so much superior
Excuse me, boys.
than
I'll be back.
than the DC, their 247.
Mm-hmm.
But it's here in regards to that time with your grandfather, that building, as he was working for Western Air, backing up, working for Western Air, and come over, and was over at Western Air, took AeroCorp over, and here we were working across the room together after two and a half years,
Yeah.
did I say. And then shortly after that, he went with Howard Hughes.
Okay, so can we go on from the Doolittle? What airplanes did you work on? Did you work on any other ones after that, or at that point, what transpired at Lockheed after that? What was the next phase, or what?
Well, here's the next phase. Was in 29. We had worked those long hours right through, and I've got a copy of the, through your grandpa gave it to me, that where they came around and on the 14th, or the 13th or 14th of the month, and gave it this sheet of paper, and it stated on there, you're now on salary. And the salary started already 2 weeks before the paper was handed to him, which came out a lot less than
Than the
already
hours.
accumulated hours. So your grandfather was being really taken for something like $80, $75, or $90. Yes, it was very poor setup for companies to do that. Like, see, and your grandpa was very outspoken and very truthful about everything. This Tony Stallman says, "Well, wouldn't you have worked overtime if you weren't getting paid for it?" He says, "Hell no, I wouldn't." Like, see, he told him, and so that went on, and shortly after that, your grandpa was very good to me. He told him, "I'm planning on leaving Lockheed," see. So I thought I'd tell you ahead of time, like, see, due to that, like, see, and some other things that weren't, because we were expanding very fast, like, see, and we had already, went up to the Lockheed there, up to Burbank with approximately, it was not more than 35 to 38 people. And in a year and a half, we had 180 to 200 people, like it was expanding that fast. And so they was building a new airplane, a Bach trimotor, up at Van Nuys. And your grandpa knew this foreman up there because he worked at Douglas with them. And he says, you just tell him, all you have to do is tell him you work for me, like, see. So I inquired, like, 10 cents an hour more than I was getting, like, and I didn't want to be there when your grandpa wasn't there, like, see.
Yeah.
Because we had a foreman, Froelich, over the whole system, a general foreman. He was very hard to get along with, and I know him and your grandpa had some words together, like, you remember Froelich?
Yeah, I remember the name,
Name,
that's
oh,
all I remember.
He was, because they were expanding so fast and adding all this. He was a non-airplane guy too, like, it was just a managed setup.
Froelich.
And Froelich. And so I went and started the next morning at Bach Aircraft, like, see, which worked out very good. And I went to work for him. I told him I'm planning on going back east for a month in August. And I wasn't working with him hardly that was 2 months when we had a fire and just threw a soldering iron like it was, set this fire off. The way it happened, they got this wing out of the dope shop just an hour before, and these gas tanks that I was making, and a fellow had to fit cables to hold them in place, and he set the soldering on down over this fresh linen deal. Even that hot solder, it dripped onto the linen. Before you know it, they hollered fire, and the fire hardly was going on. I got over there, was hardly more than 20 inches in diameter with that fire extinguisher, but pretty soon the whole wing just went up in one piece. We lost 5 airplanes, 3 sitting outside that came up for service from Pickwick Airways. And already the tar paper came off the roof and settled down on those airplanes there and took them like that. And beside 2 that were finished inside in a hangar.
Wow.
But so I went back to my hometown in Wilkinsburg, Pennsylvania. But they came through with a Bach tri-motor, and with at the Cleveland Air Races, which are one of the first big ones, like that, 1929. But getting back to, I know your grandpa, he went, I know, May, you remember, you got financial interest in the Thunderbird. You remember the Thunderbird? They put, some of their friends had this small company, a corporation, and they invested in this. It was an OX-5 engine. It was a very neat biplane for training only 2 passengers. But
What year was those Cleveland Air Races you're talking about?
that was 1929.
No.
And but this Thunderbird, I don't know how many.
That's the one that was built down in Glendale.
Yeah, that's right. And you had a financial interest in that. I know.
A little bit, I remember.
You bought some stock like that in that
But we
company.
finally withdrew because
Yeah, because that was
we couldn't afford it.
no,
We
and
were
the
just
airplane was too
getting
high.
along on nothing practically.
It was a practically aristocrat in its line, you know, see. So there was a Waco and a Stearman and a couple of Swallow and others out at that time who were selling for good 15–20% less. But they had a very refined cowling built over, and I think their grandpa did help them on that, their special cowling that was over the cylinder heads and
Well,
everything.
if you look at the book, I think that's all in there.
Yeah, should be one in there.
Pictures.
And
Keep turning
Well,
the
since
pages.
since we left, after that you didn't work with Grandpa after you left Lockheed, is that correct? You just,
no, I worked with him with AeroCorp Western Air.
okay.
Yeah. See, that only went about 6–8 months.
6–8 months.
See. And then I understand he went to work for Valti. He went to work for Jerry Valti for a while. Then from there he went to Hughes. See this?
Well, he was teaching school at Western Air, or Curtis Wright.
Oh,
At
that's
night,
right.
one of the guys come up and he says, there's this crazy guy with a lot of money he don't know what to do with, and he's building a special plane and he needs special gas and oil tanks for it. And I told him I knew a good middleman that could do the work for him. So that's how Herb got to work for Howard Hughes.
Oh.
Because it was Howard Hughes' little racer.
That's right, the racer, yeah.
Yeah, the
But
racer.
then he worked for Jerry Valti for a while.
I can't remember that part, yeah.
It
but-
was in Glendale.
And through that, he was teaching school down in Glendale.
Yeah, that's
They
right.
were
At the
all
same
down
time he
there
was
at the
teaching school.
airport.
See, and I was in the hangar there. Was already Western Air then, and we hadn't. We just made that was in August of 1930. That was in 1930, August of 1930. That Colonel Mosley set the school up there in Glendale. It was a very accredited aircraft school, I gotta say.
Who was that now?
Colonel Mosley. And
I probably got that someplace.
yeah, Colonel Mosley. And
Started the school down at.
yeah, I started school at Curtis Wright there, under the Curtis Wright name. And they built the elaborate station there for that time. And Maddox Airline, which was part of the TAT, half train and half plane, and this was the ending of the line here from Oklahoma. They'd fly in here, and the passengers would take a train part way, and then when we took over, merged part of Western Air with TAT, we all came up to Glendale from 94th and Western. We came up to Glendale, and we worked there a little over a year before we moved back to Kansas City.
I see.
For TWA's central location. But this Thunderbird was a very neat
Keep
airplane.
turning. You're in Santa Monica here. Keep turning.
There's a Lockheed, but this is,
Maybe you can just, we can kind of, how about if we just go through the book now and you can kind of explain some, if you just tell us what you're looking at and then
Oh.
explain a little bit about
very
it.
good.
Well,
Let's see.
that's just some of the letters that he got.
Yeah, I was wondering, this letter is in here where I'm on the list of,
Well, this is Santa Monica.
Santa Monica, yeah.
You gotta go, what,
We can just kind of
what
go
farm,
through it.
Oh.
what are you talking about? That's when they're,
There's
This is-
44.
yeah,
that's when
this
the
is a
guys went
Douglas-
around the world.
Yeah, see, March 17th, 1924, and it looks to be, it's around, yeah, around the world flight. It has an insignia on there, like, yeah, see. Yes, here's the one with the around the world. 3 of them made it.
I
like,
love
yeah,
that
see.
because that one didn't get to go, remember? That one crashed.
Is that it?
In
Yeah,
fact, I've got it there. This plane crashed on the mountainside in Alaska.
yeah. And 3 of them made it around with a couple engine changes and other things. And
We were there the
and-
day the Douglas Company builders, as were cruisers.
Very good.
We all wore our little,
Uh-huh.
so they'd know who we were.
But, yeah, these O2, they call them the observation plane.
That I just took out
I
of the,
see, yeah. But here's
There they
the
are.
celebration when they're
Coming home.
coming back to their home
See,
port.
got
like,
3
yeah,
come
see.
home.
Yeah, and 3 came home, see, out of 4 starting. And we were there too. Yeah, welcome.
last
Very
one.
good.
and that's a big article that they had about the plane, and I just happened to
Hey.
see it and cut it out.
Yeah.
That was to be honored
64
for
here.
the round the world plane, a special deal. I think I've got it, what's
Yeah,
it say
I
here?
attended one of these and took your grandpa
What's
there.
it say here? I think I've got
Oh,
it.
yeah. The story I have was written in full in our local paper.
Yeah,
40 years later, when Donald Douglas was being honored as founder of the planes that
going around the world.
make the
That was in
historical
our
flight.
local paper, and I just happened to see it.
Oh, yeah, very good.
Now,
This
there's
is
the-
another one they built for the military in regards to, oh, yeah, pilot,
That was Donald
test pilot,
Douglas's
spreader,
private plane.
yes, yes.
That was his private plane, that's his, that's his,
There's the folding wing deal. They made a
His
folding
pilot.
wing, yeah. And,
it was called the Cloudster.
yeah, Cloudster. Oh, yes, I remember Cloudster in that respects. Here's the 19, no, it's, don't give the exact date on here. But, he's 23.
And
That
Springer
really
was his
early.
pilot.
Yeah, it was an early test pilot, like you know, say. Oh, yeah, here's some of the, no, that's War Department. Is this, no?
That's Levere there, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, Tony Levere, sure. And he's one of, yeah, that's Tony Levere, which is he's retired from Lockheed
Now,
sometime, years
this was
back.
from
And,
Drinkwater. You remember Drinkwater? at
Oh,
Douglas?
yes.
Well, that's
Yeah.
his handwriting there, and I've got put down on Douglas
Yeah.
aircraft.
Drinkwater came to our party over there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think he did.
And, yeah, I got acquainted with him, like, and then we had another Drinkwater that was president of Western Air, but they were not the same in that respect. So, this is early, to be a stewardess, this particular gal wanted to be a stewardess, like, you know. Oh, yeah, this is a Lockheed L-1011, like, you know, see,
Yeah.
which was quite an airplane, and it's early, there in the late 60s it was
Stick
put.
plane, the scale to match the Superjet, where they changed it.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's
what you
very
call it.
good. Yeah, that's.
Can you imagine that coming out in our Burbank Leader paper?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
always keep
boy.
their
I got, this came to mind.
lives full, and it tells all about the hobbies.
Yeah, this is Donald Douglas. Picture of Donald Douglas.
Yeah,
in
that's
there.
Donald Douglas.
He was quite a.
He was a handsome man.
He was, yeah, very
What's the
good.
story of that museum that you're gonna visit?
Oh, I see. Yeah, I heard about that. Like,
I think you'll enjoy it. It's a neat museum.
Very good. Yeah, this is quite a collection you have here, May.
Oh, I had it all in a big box,
Yeah.
just piled on top of each other. How I ever made any
These-
sense out of it, I'll never know, but I'm so glad I did.
Yeah, real good.
It's too
Like,
bad I
see.
didn't get it finished so Herb could see it, but he never did get to see it.
Yeah, because they went into as far as parts for the space flights, like you know, see. And this is Porter, yeah, see that
Awful
he was
firm
an
of something.
engineer, yeah, when the native Chicago.
Moved to Los Angeles in
D.L.
22.
Porter, yeah, he was.
And he worked at Douglas Company the same year. He worked for Douglas for more than 25 years.
Yes.
I figured Herb must have known him, that's
Yes,
why he not
very
put it in
good.
there.
Yeah, this. See, they used the old Liberty engines in it. That was from World War I, like you know, see. And they were, trouble is they ate a lot of fuel and they were heavy, like you know, see. They were something like 4.5 to 5 pounds per horsepower, like you know,
Oh,
see.
wow.
Which are now we're running 1 1/4, like you know,
Yeah.
see, for a gasoline engine, like you know, see. And this is the one they had for passenger deal, like you know, Douglas. You don't have the, yeah, 1925, yeah, see, that's one of the first ones they had for passengers. And I think they called that the Cloudster, I'm not too sure. But these were 12-cylinder engines. And made by a Ford Motor Company was one of them. They made them during the war. And who else the other, but several companies made them. They had a lot of surplus left over, like, you know, they flew quite a bit of mail jobs. They put them in that is one.
That's one.
Yeah, it's one, yeah.
That's
it's
one.
pretty good. But this, oh yes,
Wilkes
this
White.
I left out the early,
Wilkins and Ellison.
because
Ellison.
on 1928,
Yeah,
Cap
May
Wilkins was,
1928.
yeah, that was practically number 2 or 3 airplane. And this Captain Wilkins, he was a very fine fellow. He stayed with this plane while it was being built, and he wanted to be the first one to fly over the North Pole. See? He had already been up there, he had a tri-motor Fokker, and he had lots of problems with his engine. He had J5 engines on it, but he had a lot of problems, and he gave up on it, and he come back and has ordered this Lockheed. And I've got a pair of these skis, I got them here. Grandpa took a picture of me standing alongside these skis, and he had the big gas tanks in them, and that was a J5 Wright Whirlwind, and Eelson was his pilot. I guess they give the name. Eelson was his pilot, and they actually did, and there's still a controversy that they claim our American went over the South Pole. Got lost down there, and we found it, like, you know, see, pilots.
I'm not sure.
Oh boy, let's see. But anyhow, they've made it over on April the 15th, 1928, like, you know, say. And when Eelson, they got disorientated because their compass was going in circles, like, you know, see, up there. And but they know they went over the pole, like, you know, see, right? But they were getting low on gas, and they went to sit down on this small island deal, like, you know, got down there with it. But when they wanted to, and trying to get their radio to work so they could try to pick up something or find out where they were going over to Spitzenberg, like, you know, that was their point. And he explained this whole thing to us because he came back and he spent a whole day talking to the Lockheed group, like, you know, see, that was in later, almost in the summer time, 2 or 3 months after this flight, so that had to be about June. And what happened when they landed at this, but they couldn't get started off, the skis would freeze to the ground, and he had to stay outside and push the airplane, see, and he couldn't get back in the cockpit again, see. He had a special cockpit behind the wing, and it was a little difficult to get in, like, you know, see. So after the second, third attempt, he didn't make it, like, you know, see, so they had a parachute that they wrapped up and could make a tent out of, and enough supplies for 3 days. And he says, if you don't make it this time, you stay here and I'll fly around and dump this out through the front cockpit. I don't know, and for you. But he says, boy, I was going to make it. But he dove in that and broke a tooth, a front tooth, going into that cockpit. Like, you know, so that's to get in there. And they made it over with very little fuel left, like, you know, see. But no, that was the first. And they've corrected that, and I'm pretty sure they gave him the credit for they knighted him in England, sir.
So did you happen to work on that airplane?
Oh, yes.
Or anything along with that?
Oh yeah, yeah, very much. And I was one of the first ones that did the bumping out of the covered the dump valve and stuff like that.
One of the ones that you.
And the windshield is mine.
So that was a Yankee Doodle also? Was that airplane a Yankee?
No, that wasn't a Yankee Doodle. That was one. Yankee Doodle was right ahead of that.
Oh,
that was number 4, I think. And it was a wasp job. This was a J5.
This is Wilkins and Isleson taking off for their
great.
2,200-mile flight from Point Barrow to Spitzenberg.
Yeah, that's right.
Bergen.
And did they mention anything about a record? But I know on my second trip up to Alaska, I did see they did Bird. Yeah, Captain Bird. You know, was Bird. Remember the South Pole did?
Oh.
He had claimed a record, like, you know, see, and there was dispute on it, but I think it went back to Wilkins, like, you know, see, because when they get up in that territory compasses,
sure,
then not too effective, like, you know, see, and but he was very humble, this Sir Captain Wilkins, and told us all about his trip, and during our lunchtime while he was building his boat, he'd tell us about his experience already in the Alaska, like, you know, and that was quite interesting. I was only 19 or 20, just 20 years old then, and he told us all that, how they got forced down and had a 5 days walk out. They found a cave, and the only thing in there was a bear hide, and they ate the hair off of that there bear. There's nourishment in hair. Yeah, that's what kept them alive. Yeah, imagine eating hair. You haven't had that? Yeah, him and his pilot. Ilsen was already had quite that experience in Alaska, and he's made quite a bit of history. But this Lockheed, so they made quite a few flights off. Oh yeah, I have this photograph here too, and I'm not on it. And your grandpa's not on it.
Oh, gosh.
It already had.
I thought I had a handkerchief. I don't know where it is. I'll
So
go get another.
see how they were going pretty big, like, you know, see, in that respect.
So this was after you, Grandpa left?
Yeah.
28. Yeah, early 29.
No, see, that's April 28. What they got under 1980?
Well, she got the picture.
Oh, I see, yeah. Oh, 28.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
28 or early 29. So.
Yeah, but see, no, as far as I recall, because I was there, and I'm not on it. Yeah, see.
I thought this was this isn't Douglas. This is Douglas.
No, this is Lockheed.
Oh, this is Lockheed.
Yeah, this is Lockheed. And no, but I recall these buildings, and this was practically 1930.
It's supposed to be.
Oh yeah, that will be done. Here, yeah, there's her on it. Hey.
Maybe you are on it.
Oh boy, this is funny. But then again, I don't know. You know, I wore a Pfizer type deal, but that still don't look right. Well, be darned. Yeah, that is. Yeah. So gun.
What picture is that, Hermie?
Cause Errol,
What one is it?
oh, this here big one from, I thought it was.
What's the
30.
sale with
Yeah,
that hand?
well, you got it in 28. See, I was there in 28 through 29, through till April 29, I guess. March, April 29. And,
Well, you could be in there, I
yeah,
didn't know.
and, but that had skipped me in regards to that, but I see her was on here. So I think I was wore a visor.
Now, which
type.
airplane is this in this picture?
Oh, that's a Lockheed, well, that's a wasp job, yeah, that's a wasp, say, that's a big engine job. No, I'll take it back, you know, here's how you can tell them. See the magnetas out front?
Yeah.
That's a J5.
Okay.
Black Whirlwind have the magnetas out front. The wasp don't have them in the rear, they're rare.
Now, which airplane is this, though?
Well, this is the Vega, the Lockheed
Oh,
Vega.
that's the Vega,
Yeah,
okay.
that's the Vega.
I
They're
got a
all
name
the-
here. Who's
all
this?
built at that.
What's that name? Is it a name?
Oh, yeah, wait a minute. Hey,
Grace?
Herb, yeah,
Yeah, there he is.
yeah. Well, then they got back here, too.
Well, I think somebody.
Oh, here's your dad, hey. Boy, I know your dad worked over there in Hollywood for a while, Herb's dad.
Herb's father, yeah.
Yeah, and,
I thought he only worked
gee,
out
this
here
sure
at
looks
Lockheed.
like
I
him.
didn't know he worked in
See,
Hollywood.
you got another picture in here that, you know, I'll be darned. Yeah, oh yeah, this is his dad, like, yeah, see. When, where's this again, like, yeah, see.
Where's the one we thought was Herb, but it isn't.
Well, I don't think this is Herb, but this one here does look very much in the back here, there. This one here, look like Herb. And,
I really think so, huh?
you
I don't know.
know, boy.
Look at the
See, I've got
hairline.
this picture. Who gave you this,
I wouldn't have any idea
I
where it
think-
came from.
I think, what's her name, Carol, the ones that took the video of Herb and I.
Could be.
Yeah, because she gave me this picture, like, yeah, see, to look at.
Could be.
And one of those who I could recognize on it.
Well, I think there was one guy on the end over here that they thought they knew.
Odekirk.
The one, the very last one, right there in the front row.
Odekirk, yeah, wait a minute.
Over, all the way over, Ernie. That one, in the black.
Oh. I'm looking for Odekirk. Oh yeah, here's Odekirk. This one here is Odekirk, like, you know, see? I know him, we can mark it. He was a wing foreman. Yeah, you want to mark this Odekirk? I know this one here, because he got mixed up with helicopters, with the Hillard helicopter the other day. And I had a financial interest in it too, but they had that two-bladed coaxial deal.
Third round, we can do it.
Yeah.
We'll put it on.
Yeah.
Odekirk. Or you could put his name down below and
Yeah,
put an X behind it.
Yeah. And, cause he would, I got my ride in it, and that helicopter through him, but it had a lot of vibration, around 180 RPMs to 220, and oh, it'd shake you out of that thing. Oh, yeah, thank you.
Sometimes when we talk more.
Yeah, that's right too, I know that on the first side. But,
There you are.
I've got this pic, now here's real good. Here's, now look, here's Herb's
There's the
dad.
Yeah, that's Pop.
See, there's Herb's dad, so
Mhm.
that's your
Great-grandfather,
Yeah,
yeah.
great-grandfather. And here I'm on the end here.
Oh,
too.
that's you, okay.
Yeah, that's me on the end here. Yeah, they should have the,
Yeah, they got it written.
yeah, that's right, yeah. And, this, yeah, here's that Keith Hiley, see? When I went with work with him, it was just Herb and him.
This is the first sheet metal
Oh, yeah.
department at Lockheed Herb set up.
That's right.
He
That-
had 4 guys working with him.
See, this was up in Burbank already, this was in Burbank.
Yeah, that's out here.
We haven't had no pictures of down there.
Turkey
you know,
Crossing.
see,
It
It was a
said
very
Turkey
small
Crossing.
deal. And, see, like, here's one of my jobs.
There's one of your spinners, huh?
Yeah, see, I had to cut out and put that extra deal on. See, here's the
I'll
windshield.
hang on to that for
Well,
you.
here, I got another day.
I'm so afraid you'll drop it. And I'll put it right over here in case you need it.
Yeah, water's pretty expensive here, I understand, but, yeah, I think.
I hadn't thought
But,
about that.
see, I'm here with a windshield.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had already graduated to windshield. And here's something very interesting. See these propellers on here?
Mm-hmm.
See that little narrow? They're made by Westinghouse. They're micarta. And they were no good, like, you know, see. They finally put them under a camera deal, and they found out that the last 6 inches would flatten out straight, like, you know, see.
Oh.
They had no effect. But we had them on several Lockheeds. They were, because I was born and raised 6 miles from the Westinghouse plant back there, and I was interested in these blades. But they were micarta, and well, they never had no failures or fatigue or anything breaking, but they were too flexible.
I see.
And then right close by, Standard Propeller Company in the Keysport, right close by there, came out with their metal propeller, and then they merged with Hamilton, and the Hamilton Standard
Came
their plane.
from that.
Yeah, from that. And then they went to, these are all fixed pitch, no change.
Right.
And later on, they come out, they could change 3 degrees, like, you know, say on one operation. Now I guess you know that.
Variable.
Constant, yeah, constant
Or
speed.
constant, yeah.
Go right with it. But that's, here's a, see, I've got this picture here, and this is, yeah, that's right, is our, they moved us from here out in the field with a new building. And that's just a new building, like, you know,
Oh,
say
so that was,
lunchtime, yeah.
yeah, the day before. Okay.
And these are, oh yeah, I got him a job at TWA, matter of fact.
So Grandpa was the
30.
shop foreman for all these men here?
No,
Oh,
some of these
Some
from
of
a
them
welder. These are welder,
okay.
and
But
these are metal
most of the,
things. Yeah.
most of those guys.
Here's
are
here's
senior.
what he had. One, myself, Keith Hiley. No, here's Keith Hiley. Oh, who's the other fellow that came and lived with us together here at your place just for a short time?
It says Tommy something.
Oh
Tommy
yeah,
Einen,
Tommy Island.
Tommy Hiley. You know, he only stayed
a
a
little
short
while,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
he went to live with his sister.
yeah, 1, 2, 3, and oh gee.
Yeah, I had a
Hey,
rooming house
Kibler.
for a
I can put
while.
Kibler's name down here.
Careful, huh?
Yeah, you got the pen. I'm gonna put Kibler, Roy Kibler. Yeah, I'll put this one here. It's Roy Kibler. He passed away. Oh gee, let's see, way back in late. I guess it was in the late 30s. Yeah. But he was a good worker. Yeah, Roy Kibler, and I know I got him a job at TWA right back there. And here's your, yeah, see here's, what they got down here. What was your dad's name? Can you read that first name? What is that? That's,
Herb's father, it says.
oh, and there's father, I see they put it down there. He was a welder, and here's Keith Hiley, yeah, they got that, yeah, Keith
Yeah.
Hiley. Oh, they haven't got this father.
So Grandpa actually got my great grandfather a job.
Yeah,
As
that's right. And,
was he working as a metalman also?
well, he helper, yeah.
Helper.
He helped.
Yeah, he was a helper on
He
that.
was limited to
Just
what he could do.
scribe it, punch patterns and punch holes and stuff like that.
They
you know,
were
so
willing
he
to
did-
take anybody in
Yeah.
those days.
And,
He needed people
oh, he was
so bad.
very good, like, you know, he found, here's the rolls that I know that I stretched this metal on.
That's the first metal
Yeah.
department in Lockheed.
See, this was a glass factory.
It was a glass factory. They
Yeah,
made glass
and his name,
jars.
he was a financial interest in the Lockheed Corporation at that time. And they outgrew, they had so many orders for coming up, they took part of the glass factory, was not operating, so they moved to half the glass factory and emptied half the glass factory, moved it into the other part, piled it all up, and put Lockheed in there, like, you know, see, which was approximately, I'd say, 150 feet by 100 feet. It was about all it was, or less, office and everything. And because we had fellows that worked in the glass factory, and anytime you wanted to bring a broken glass, he could duplicate that, and you could put your own design on it, everything, like, you know, say, just at a small price. And they finally kept moving that stuff out of there. But yeah, I like these two. Yeah, this Dean Whitaker took this picture, and he gave it to me way years later. Oh yeah, now, I had already left when this picture was taken, yeah, see. Yeah, here's Herb up here, I'm pretty sure this is him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, oh yeah, here it is, yeah, see there.
Herb's department.
Yeah, Herb's dad, yeah. And, yeah, that was him. I'd already left him, Herb would stay there. So, that was, we bumped, believe it or not, this cowling here, for experimental, we were the first commercial ones that Herb and he started, we bumped them out in a sandbag.
You're kidding, those
Sandbag.
cows?
Yeah, sandbag.
Wow.
And smoothed it over form, like, you know, see, because it was too expensive for experimental to turn up a big wood disc, like, you know, see. And they had a plaster form that we smoothed down on, like, you know, see, which always got nicks in. But here's what the whole story on this thing. Jerry Volte was chief engineer there after Jack Northup left. And he depended on your grandfather of the things. They wrote it up on a sketch, brought it back on a sketch like it. And I remember I was right alongside, he says, just brace it, keep it going back over the fuselage, see? But no specific where to tie it to or anything. You find a place on the engine to tie it to, see? So, okay, we did that, like, you know, see? And it was, a number of days to get those there round forms all smoothed out. And the length on that, because the military had already had one on a plane back in Dayton, Ohio. And this was number 2, like, you know, we were putting on there. But they run it up on the test stand out on the field, and soon they gunned the whole thing engine wide open. The air was locked in there and had no place to go, so it pulled the cowling into the prop, because our bracing was all to take the opposite way. And it chewed up all our hard work that we had spent, week and a half, 2 weeks, like, you know, say, to get that ready. So we saved a couple pieces of it and had to make some new pieces and put that together, like, you know, see. But this is actually a fact. I would work some overtime by myself when your grandpa couldn't have things to do, like, you know, see. And I bought where I was in the money, I bought a 28 new Ford, like, you know, see, the Model A, like, you know, the first ones out. And I had my own transportation. And he'd come back there and talk to me, and he picked up a sketch that he'd give Herb or something. How's Herb plan on doing this? You know, because he knows Herb and I were very close. You know, how'd Herb plan on doing it? Then I tripped him up on it coming back, and here he's talking just the ideas that I had told him. He put it across to Herb, like, you know, say, after it came through me, Herb to me, and then back to him. And I was pretty young then, and I knew what was going on, like, you know.
You caught wind of it, huh?
Yeah, that he didn't realize some of the stuff that he was backing through, like, you know, see. But he was he even offered me to, he knew I was at a private, and when he's building his own airplane, and I'm sure your grandpa worked for him. Well, the Volte is a 10-passenger, big single engine transport. But they only built about 14 of them, 12 or 14, and one is still licensed and flying yet in the Wyoming, one of them, that's all. And they were built in 1930. So, but the Depression was still on there when they wasn't able to sell them. But it was a big engine, single engine, but it was all practically Jack Northup's metal construction, like, you know, see, that yeah, it was Jack Northup type construction, low wing monoplane. And but we got together because I know him very well. I hauled him to work for a while, like, you know, say, when he went left, and I was with Buck Aircraft, and he had left Lockheed, like, you know, was building his own, and I hauled him to work for a while. So we got pretty close, and he had a fleet airplane. It was a good trainer airplane, and he offered for me to I could get it any time I want. He says, I want somebody to check me out on it. Like, say, oh, you've flown. We built one in Kansas City together. This is back in 36. And so it was in gratitude, like, see.
Sure.
But see, here's where your grandpa excelled in very much. See, all this is flat material, but you make it so it's oval shaped like that, see. And and all these louvers. And I know that was one of my jobs to start, like all these, we used to hammer them in, so if somebody held a cowling and handed them, Father made a press steel that
Made
come out.
the-
Yeah.
Are you looking at what's
faster.
inside of the, oh, I thought
Yeah,
you were showing a
that's
picture
it,
of
that's
the
it.
inside of the.
Oh yeah, here's
Thanks.
one that I got to. Now here's a very good picture. That this is really excels all. Now see, here's your. See, yeah, here he is, right here's your grandfather right here. See, it's kind of shadowed a little bit there. See, I'm right here. See.
Oh, yeah.
See, this is first picture taken up at Burbank.
Oh, okay.
And this is as far as trying to locate. See how young
Yeah.
we two were only 19, like
Yeah.
or just barely 20, and and then here's the group here. Now here's Jerry Voltee. Here's Jerry Voltee now.
Okay.
And oh yeah, here's this Odie Kirk. Oh wait. Yeah. What the heck name? I'm getting these two. But.
Yeah, that was Odekirk. He
Yeah.
did wear that hat. He had the
That's
same
right.
hat on.
Yeah,
that
that's
one.
right. Yeah, that's right too. And oh yeah, there's Frank. Oh, now here's this Tony Stadelman. He was the boss then at that time when
Okay.
Herb's boss.
Uh-huh.
See, and came Herb. I thought that papers in here or not should have where they were getting on a salary.
Oh,
beating
on
him
that.
out of $90.
$90.
Yeah,
Extra
yeah.
overtime,
And I remember him telling us, hell no. And but this is quite a. Oh, let's see. Here's it. Oh yeah, here's the only girl we had in the office here. And this here I talked to her a half hour before. She wants to find out the exact name. She's not sure. But I says I don't remember her name because heck, she was in the office like see one gal, and but yeah, that is really the ideal picture. Oh yeah, here's that Keith. Yeah, this Keith Hiley up here. See, we hadn't added any more on the metal. We were just three of us, and here's Alan Lockheed right here. Here's Alan. Right.
Oh, okay, with the glasses.
Yeah. Here's one of his financial guys. Oh yeah, these two had finances tied into it. And Keeler was. He's not on here. Keeler was a guy that had quite a bit of money in it, and he also owned a glass factory. And he had two buildings there, and they kept one, never used it, and when it would take, somebody started up again, it was under, we used to blow their fires out when they come in from Mecker Landing, all air, suck all their chimneys, like, so they suck all the air out of it, like, see, so here's a Yankee Doodle now.
Oh, okay, that's a picture there.
Yeah, sure, very sure. And see, Roscoe Turner, yeah, that has to be the Yankee. That's a wasp job. But you can't see on the side. I'm very sure that's a Yankee. Can't see the number on it. But
Lockheed's first lady just passed away.
Oh.
Their very first secretary.
oh
She
yeah,
just passed away.
what is her name now?
Oh, it was Marie Kelly.
Oh, then that's her too.
Marie Kelly was employed by the Burbank Chamber of Commerce in 1926 when Alan Lockheed came into the
Okay.
office and asked
Kelly,
Chamber
huh?
President Leigh
Boy, I'm gonna-
Rosenberg to put out feelers for someone to work as an executive secretary. Lockheed said he needed
There you
somebody
go,
to
you found your
organize
name.
things
Yeah.
within the small operation.
Now, yeah.
Kelly overheard the conversation
Marie
and
Kelly.
told Rothenberg she'd be interested in taking the job. You wouldn't want that. Aviation is for cowboy pilots to go riding on Saturdays. It's not going to last.
I'm gonna have
He
to phone
couldn't
this-
dissuade Kelly, who in accepting the job had to promise Rothenberg she'd take the minutes of the board of directors meetings over the next 4 months. So that's what she had to do because she took the job.
Oh boy, that is.
Said at
Right.
the time his mother
Yeah,
took the job while he
99.
was building the Vega, one plane at a time. Building,
Gee.
when she took the job.
Boy,
I just found that in the
Boy.
paper just recently. Oh, you be so.
listen, May, I can make a copy and drop it by Monday or Monday, make a copy of this and drop it
I
back
don't know
to
if
you.
I want that out of my hands or not. Can I trust you?
Well, you have trusted me in the past quite a bit, like, you know,
Oh,
see,
I have?
you remember, it was one of these,
It was
papers.
one of those pictures, yeah.
Yeah, but I would like to, because I remember her being in the office like, you know, see, and it brings me, see this fin here?
Mhm.
We had a seaplane that, since they lost, it was #2 plane, and since we lost the Golden Eagle,
Well, I'll tell you what
Sky
I'll
canceled
do.
it. Hearst was building this.
I'll take the date down in case it does get lost and
Yeah.
I can always get a copy.
Oh,
I hope.
yeah, no,
Well, it's not that old. It's
No.
only 91, so.
no,
Let's
frankly,
see.
let's see, that'll be, before noon on Monday. Oh, I got it for this Carol Osborne. She's got this book that,
Saturday,
did on Amelia Earhart.
January the
They try to do
26th.
the writing up there. And Bobby Trout that is up
1991.
there, like, you know, see, they're back together again right now for a few weeks. And I'm gonna talk to this Bobby tomorrow, Monday
His
night.
First lady.
And that's something about a Jenny was no lady or something like you said
Yeah,
that, yeah.
yeah.
Well, she wrote that, and so I remember her back and met her at that time, and oh boy, she was about a year older than I am. And boy, but I noticed the last picture on TV about 3 Sundays ago, they had her in an advertisement on a golf deal, like, you know, see, but showed the wrinkles there quite a bit, but she said, I know 2 or 3 facelifts, but she had a couple serious operations too.
Mhm.
And because boy, back in 75,
Okay,
that's
I'll
right,
allow
or
you.
85, I mean, yeah. So I appreciate that because boy, that name, like, you know, say, and I'll get it back to you Monday, I know.
And this is when they were tearing down the buildings. Do you remember that? The original buildings, tearing them down to build what they got there now?
Yeah, but that's actually not, that's Burbank, huh?
Yeah, that's here. Yeah, that's
The
perfect.
original building is still
That's
set.
the glass factory, in other words.
Yeah, it's still set in Milwaukee. Sycamore and Romaine Street.
Oh, really?
Sycamore,
and
the
Romaine?
original building where I went to work with your grandpa is still there yet, you know, see. And I sit there and look at, and right across the street from that, it was up for sale then, that was last year, was Howard Hughes's office, like, you know, see, right across the street. And this has actually happened. That alleyway in back of our building was where our metal shop was. It was an alleyway, paved alleyway, and at noontime, they had looked like a homemade chassis or a car stripped down and a homemade body on it, and they'd race it up and down the alley and a lot of smoke around it, like, you know, see. And there was a man walking up and down there watching it, and he had regular golf knickers on and a hat, and that was Howard Hughes. They were trying to build him a steam car
Oh,
at that time. I was
That
trying to
was
build him a
Sycamore
steam,
and what?
and I didn't find that out for
Romaine.
5 years.
Romaine, yeah.
Sycamore and Romaine. And through
I
a
know I
high,
have it somewhere, but I thought I'd get it again. just in
through a
case.
high school chum of mine, graduated a year ahead of me, I bumped into him in an employment agency down at Figueroa Street. And I talked to him, well, I went to flying school and at 13 hours soloed into Jenny, and boy, I thought I was a real flyer, like, you know, see the amount of time I had. Oh, I had already 25, 30 hours, but at least 13 hours solo, like, you know, see, but there was no solo job, no jobs open on aircraft, like, you know, for
Yeah.
flying. Anyhow, he told me, he says they're building an airplane out at Highland, around somewhere near Highland and Santa Monica Boulevard. Well, the second day, I still couldn't find anybody and ask out there if they knew the building an airplane. So the third day, I was out there and I asked again. Yeah, he says, about 6 blocks down that way. they're building an airplane, and that was Lockheed at Sycamore. And that was about late October 27. And he kept me coming back every time, and I would come back every day for a while. And he says, "Oh no, you're not bothering me." But I'd race across town to my job, like you know, see, because I only had a half hour to get across town, like you know, see. And Tony Stadelman, I was waiting for a job to open up in the wing department for making these here rigs.
That was easy in those days. You couldn't do it today.
See, no, this is not actually true. Original buildings, if it's say original buildings, Burbank, yes. All right.
I figured that was the glass
That was
factory.
probably the Burbank papers.
Uh-oh. Oh, yeah. That's Lockheed structure built in the mid-20s. That's right, for a glass factory. Yeah, Buena Vista and Empire, yeah. And they call it Turkey Crossing. You went across the tracks there like that. See, I don't know where they got that name. But I'll be darned. Okay. Yeah, yeah, that's interesting because I visited that place when I was working at TWA. And the Martin Bach, my job that I had for a short time in 29 before I went to work for AeroCorp and then Western Air, he wanted me to come to work for Lockheed in 1936. And he says, he practically answered my question. Before I got, he says, about coming to work for him, like, you know, see, but I hesitated in answering him. And he says, "You've been there now over 6 years with TWA. He says, maybe you better stay there." Lockheed was very financially
Yeah, they weren't
embarrassed.
expecting it to last
They
long.
couldn't have money to hardly complete their, understand several times their pay was a week or so late. You know, so.
Yeah, don't remind me.
And but also coming, they get money to keep this thing going. They had some surplus junk dealers down on San Fernando Road that was getting all their surplus different time, and they had a lot of faith in Lockheed, and they loaned them money to keep going a couple times over their critical time. And I got this story during the war, like, you know, see, because I bought metal, certified metal from them, and I questioned, where'd you get this metal from? Was certified, like, you know, see. They got it from Lockheed, like, you know, see. And the story came out from them, Lockheed repaying them for their debt back in 36 and 7 when they were very low on finances, like, you know, see, because they were expanding fast, and they didn't have the 14 where the Hudson bomber yet, like, you know, it was getting ready for that, like, you know, see. So that's what put them over the top when they made those 200 planes for England. Like,
What were those two streets? I mean, Buena Vista and
Empire Boulevard.
Empire, I've
Yeah.
forgotten.
Yeah.
You know why they call
But
it
this
Turkey Crossing?
Yeah, Turkey Crossing, that was called, yeah.
You said you didn't know why.
No,
Don't you remember the story where the train hit a
oh, is that
truck
it?
full of turkeys?
Oh, that it? I'll be tired. Yeah, you're right too.
That's
That,
what
brought,
happened.
that brings back memories to it, but that happened before our time there. That's how it's got its name, because there's lots of vineyards around there, like, you know, see, and we worked this overtime, heavy overtime, and they would come in there visiting us at nighttime, like, you know, see, and they asked us if we wanted some of this old grape juice, and here it was already wine, like, you know, see. So they brought us some wine in there, like, you know, see. That was during Prohibition days, like, you know, see. So pretty soon we paid the enormous price, 25 cents for a gallon. And it was pretty well won, right? It was really good, like, you know, see. But that's this is the main.
That was a big picture.
Yeah, see, I gave her this picture here, like, you know, see, and I got this from a friend over in LA that made a book up of early Lockheed, and he through a friend of his, he recognized me on this, and he got this to me, and no, that's really, but it's quite a sharp picture, like, you know, but there she is, like, you know, Henry Kelly, and it's Jerry, well, he was quite a guy, Jerry Voltee, and he stretched his luck too far, because I was well associated with him. He had this Beach Stagger wing, which was a high-class airplane. days, expensive. But he didn't have too much cross-country solo time. But it was in 1937 or 8. He went back to pick up his wife, been over to Europe, pick her up in New York and fly her back to LA. He ran into a storm around Flagstaff, Arizona, and got ran and right at south of Flagstone. He ran into a mountainside, like you say. And so that was too bad, like you say, because Jerry was a fine fellow, and he was going up the ladder fast. How they called Vultee, Consolidated Vultee for a while. That was the name. Then it went over to General Dynamics.
Oh.
That's the present General Dynamics. Yeah. So.
Well, they're
Oh,
tearing
and Oscar
buildings
Grubb.
down
Yeah,
with
this one
roofers.
here is Oscar Grubb, and he was foreman of the assembly at Ellis, Lockheed Assembly, and he went, agreed to go nonstop with Frank Clark. Frank Clark was a movie stunt pilot, but Texaco chief pilot at that time was planning a nonstop in their high wing monoplane, high wing Lockheed, and it was in summer of June 1929. They went out of Van Nuys Airport. We had heavy rains before that, but they set it up on the apron of these buildings down there to use the apron to get it going, like, you know, see, before they hit the mud, like, you know, see. But his mother was there trying to talk him out of it at the same time he was going. And the Lockheed guy in charge there says, I was already left Lockheed then. He says, but if you want a chance to go, if Oscar don't go, how quick could you get ready? Like, you know, say, I didn't say anything, like, you know, say, because the way they had that thing set up, it was the very crudest setup. Plane was not set up for long distance flying. So they put 5-gallon gas tanks in the cabin and covered the wings. There may be a picture in here. I've got the picture. Covered the wings with lattice sticks to keep the cans from breaking out. And Oscar Grubb in there, he was to take these 5-gallon cans and put the hose in, wobble pump, get the gas up above so it gravity feed into the engine. That was his job after they used up the tanks in the wing. Well, and they gave him a pair of 10 snips in there to cut the cans up, make them flat so to save space. But nobody took in thought of fumes, gas fumes. And at high altitude, 16,000 feet, they had no oxygen, but they were up there over Colorado, passing at 16,000 feet. He passed out. But Frank, I'll think of his name yet, but he kept kicking him afterwards and to revive him, like, you know, see. But they made a record in of 19 hours. That was a record.
Wow.
19 hours into New York. And but he had never done very much flying, and he admitted it was very foolish for him to you know, take that.
Oh, they took chances in those days.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Pilots today don't even know anything about.
Yeah. That see, Frank Clark was a movie stunt pilot, and I've been. Did you ever hear of a mystery travel airplane?
Yeah, mystery.
Well, he flew the first one to come up to Cleveland there, and for the races, and Walter Waterman came over. He was a close friend of Walter Waterman. And came, you get together with Frank there. He says that airplane's coming apart, and I went down there, and they had Adobe wood plastic Adobe putty all filled in around the wing fittings, because the flying wires were the wing supports, upper and lower, and they puttied in with this plastic wood to cover up the fittings, make it more streamlined. You know, say, well, so many 2 or 3 hours flying, that all stuff's coming out. You know, so he didn't know much about structural air. He says it's all coming apart. So I try to convince him it had nothing to do with the strength of it. Like,
yeah.
But he was a noted, but he done acrobatics every day with that. That was quite an acrobatic game. Poncho Barnes had one too.
Oh.
And boy, that was the only woman gal pilot I knew could really handle acrobatics. like, you know, see, and she did, like, you know, see, but that was really something. But so, oh yeah, here's what I'm getting at.
Oh,
See,
that was the
see,
about going to salary?
the-
Is that the one about?
no, see, here's the whole force, February 15th, at Lockheed Fort. Here's the whole force. See, I'm on here with Keith Hiley, and here,
Mm-hmm.
that's her point boss, like that. But there, that's the whole force, February 15th. See, when we down in Lockheed, we only had 29, as I mentioned before.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they used to mail those reports out to the,
yeah,
to the,
and
and Herb saved everything.
yeah.
Thank
So
God.
there's another letter here too in regards to $10 gold piece of reward for your lieutenant. Oh yeah, I gave it to her. Yeah, yeah, I recall this. Yeah, I got all about it. Yeah, because Herb had a lot of ideas on stuff. They'd bring the stuff back on a sketch, and then after Herb had finished the sketch, they'd go make a print. You know, yeah.
And you know their secretary still lives here in the valley.
Yeah. One of the Lockheed's old
Oh,
secretary.
what was in her name? Well, anyway, she lives right out here off of Junior. They called her Junior.
Yeah. But oh, this is interesting.
Stroll was her name. S-T-R-O-H-L.
Yeah.
Virginia Stroll. And they called her, instead of calling her Jeannie, they called her Junior. She was out
What's
here
the
in
date
the
of
valley.
28? Yeah, August 28. Yeah, that was right. That was our heaviest time. This they called it. Anyhow, they had every record. No other plane could beat the Lockheed cross country. You know, they were so far ahead. And they tested Jack Norther. They had no wind tunnels that day. They did it in a big swimming pool over at Caltech. That's where they tested their model.
Hmm.
Yeah, see,
In a swimming pool.
yeah, the big
With
swimming
water flow? Is that
Yeah.
how they did it?
Yeah, that's
Instead
where
of
they,
airflow, they did
yeah,
water.
they
They
used
used
water.
water.
Yeah, see,
Huh.
there were no wind tunnels at
Yeah.
that time. Yeah, see, and that's where Jack Northup tested.
Oh, it looks like we got
this
some
is
more
after
company
that,
coming.
Jack Northup never asked to take the controls of an airplane. He never asked to take the control. He was one of the
We
number
got
one.
some more company coming.
He was the number one engineer.
You're gonna get to see Julie today.
Oh, good. Oh, geez. Boy, this is rare. Here's one here. Oh, yeah, here it is. Hey,
You wanna
here's
get
that
up
one
and let her
about the
in, honey?
salary deal, I think.
Dana, you wanna get up and let her in?
That's the one about the salary.
Yeah, it was the 16th, the other one.
Ask her what the password is.
Yeah. Well, I'm still on camera here.
Well, stay put, she'll come in.
Yeah.
She'll get here. Hi, sweetheart.
Hi.
Have a nice fashion show?
Darn, I will drop the other pictures and say we go back to Oshkosh every year, for the
Oh,
DLA
yeah.
deal. We've been
Yeah, look here. See what I look at?
Oh, yeah, I'll be darned.
All
Gee,
the
you got to-
airplanes and your mountains.
Oh, yeah. Because I see we've been meeting back there. Some Continental fellows work for TWA. We had 12 back there, even my Montana farmer friends. All poor farmers, they ganged up and went there, but they all owned airplanes. Like, you know, came back 4 of them. I was year before last year, and I think a couple will make it this year. But we had our group. We always meet, and we get to stay in a dormitory at
Oh, that's nice.
college, and so it's quite interesting. I haven't missed a one like say since '77.
This is his home if you've never seen it before.
Oh yeah, here's your dad. Yeah.
Got a beautiful home up
Oh
in
yeah, here's your.
Calabasas. Over the hill from Calabasas, I'll put it that way.
Is that your home?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good, very good.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it sure is. I'll be darned.
Over the hill from Calabasas.
Calabasas, yeah.
That's actually Camarillo.
I'll be darned. Very good.
Balloons fly over there all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, that is. How many children do you have?
3.
3. Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Thank
We
you.
got 3, like see, and
Taking Thanksgiving Day.
but who the heck? Oh, which? Hey, yeah, Woody Deeds. Now where is it? He should be in there. He was head of it. He started division. Oh, gee, Woodchuck. Lockheed Aircraft Corporation with the radio.
Herbie's having a He's gonna be here for 2 weeks
Yeah, we'll
before he
keep
gets
moving.
through this book.
Oh, boy. Yeah, but I can't figure out this.
I'm just showing him Dana's
uh,
home.
Woody, I know Woody very well. He was a head guy.
They're having a ball here. I'm writing little notes as I hear things going. My two favorite books.
Yeah. What's this? What's this here?
So I bet you were the priest one at the fashion show today.
Oh, yeah, that's right too. I gave this one here, yeah, and of our group.
Hope somebody was there to
Yeah,
take
I don't
pictures.
think I'm even on it, like, you know, see.
Joyce was there, but she didn't.
That was given to me through this Carol, like, you know, see.
No colored camera then, huh?
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, that's right too.
I wasn't
That's
involved.
the Lucky group after I had left like this. Oh yeah, now here's the Yankee Gold Eagle, yeah, the Gold Eagle. I got quite a few pictures of that. A friend of mine, Tony Battetti, oh, he's got a really collection of old stuff. He passed away here a couple of years ago, but I know his wife is trying to sell it, set up there. But, and here's our one at Ellsworth, the new Northrop light, you know, see, that's Northrop Gamma.
Is that the one that he went away from Lockheed to build?
No, well,
This is later.
this is later, yeah. This is on his, with his all-enclosed deal that, but now this, see, this got the big engine in it. And see, we had the Gamma. This is a Gamma model, you know, see. See, this way here, 54, but I don't know if there's any of them left. See, we had one for high altitude flying, 35, 34, 5, and 6. And because we couldn't get the DC-1 up, we could coax it up a couple times to 30,000 feet, we'd pull it up a little bit, we'd settle back forward and all that. So we went to the single engine Gamma, and that's what this one is here too. That's a Gamma model, you know, see. And now I could...
So most of the airplanes were designed pretty much around the engine.
Well, that's
What
true
you
too,
do-
yeah.
you
These,
could-
see, they improved this Hornet engine, like I say. And see, you can see the J5, here's the magnetos are out front. You can always distinguish them. That's the same model that Lindbergh had.
Yeah, I
in his,
even have that on my little notes here.
Oh, yeah.
Northrop
Yeah, I heard it.
got
I'll be darned,
early
Northrop
flew
Gamma.
in
Yeah,
for a TWA, 1932, 33.
there's 3, yeah.
I'll be
See,
darned.
And I'll be
I don't know how I
yeah,
do
yeah.
that.
See, we've done all our high altitude testing after we let Howard have the DC-1. And then, you know how the DC-1 ended up. They got it back to LA, and he wanted to make a record from LA over to and Odenkirk was
Oh, here it is, the
with-
original
and,
1927 Golden Eagle, #1 that flew the
that's
Hawaiian
right,
Dole flight.
yeah. They
That's
got
the original.
made a record into Miami, but old Howard was so darn hurry to get out of it. We had no safety cap on the landing gear handle here, and he getting out of the left seat, he knocked the gear down, knocked the gear up like this, up come gear like, you know, down and buckled one of the wings like, you know.
Oh, okay.
And so they brought a DC-2 wing in, which had 3 degrees more difference on it, 8 inches more. Flew just as good as that modified wing.
Different wing.
Flew it back, but then Lockheed come along with their 14. Like, you know, see, their new 14 was the early part of the Hudson deal. Like, you know, see, and he switched over to the Lockheed, like, you know, because it was faster than the DC-2, like, the
Right.
DC-1 rather. And so then it's already the DC-1 was built, and he worked with it, modified it as they were building it. And your grandpa helped them modify it more when they had it across the fence from our deal there. They were there a good month, like, you know, see, rebuilding it and all the other stuff they put in it. But so this is yeah, I had quite a few high altitude tested. Oh gee, some of the stuff we'd put in it. We never, after 24,000 feet, we'd have to do all hand pumping for the gas. Pump wouldn't take it up there. Like, you know, so we had different ideas, you know, how to get that gas up there. And so, okay, we wanted to put air pressure in the tanks, you know, it sounded pretty good, like, you know, say. So gee, we made it right on up 32 or 30. I don't think that trip we got to 35. Later on, we got to 35,000. We had a world's record then. But anyhow, the third trip on this air pressure deal, coming back down, this Tommy Thompson, he's still living yet. He's 91 or 2. He's on his number 7th wife, like, say, Navy boy. Anyhow, coming down, he would drop down fast, like, see, I got used to it. He didn't bother me or anything. But anyhow, we heard some noise. Oh, it was what the noise was making. And I figured these pants around here, somebody didn't, those dews fasters didn't turn them in all the way. And these were tearing off, like, see, it was, and boy, he got down there, more noise, like, see. He got down to 3,000 feet, and it dawned upon me, he didn't open up the air pressure on the tanks. And we collapsed 9 tanks out of 11. See, you're up over 30,000 feet, and you get down to 3.
Yeah.
He forgot to open up the tanks, and that was the end of the, and take the wings off, get all those tanks out, rebuild some of them, and some of them we get pushed out by,
Wow.
But that way, and then we finally did wind up, and then we took put the pump right down below, and pushed the gas up, like, see, instead of the pump drawing the gas up, like, see, and but we used like a speedometer cable, a heavy duty speedometer cable. On the third flight on that, it snapped, like, and oh boy, the noise it made, like, see, whirling around, like, see, it's a wonder it didn't make enough sparks with all that gas around there, like, see, and stuff. And that was the end of that, like, see. So, nothing to relieve themselves on the mail job, like, see. So, we put one, give them a funnel, like, see, the closed part of the funnel. I know there's a lot of remarks how big a hole to put this, see, especially a couple pilots. Put it on the left side, like, see, down there. Oh boy, take them off, take them off. Why? Pressure on that side. It came back in their face. Put it on the other side, it was okay. But on the left side was pressure. Fuselage.
Learn all kinds of things.
Yeah, the same way the old tri-motor Fords. We had black boys here in Kansas City doing the cleaning up, and they had a funnel there for really the toilet's emptying out into this funnel, flow back into the breeze. There was no laws about you could dump anything overboard.
Yeah.
And they always complained about cleaning out that their funnel, like, stuff would pack in there. The Fokker, which was a faster, to us it was a better airplane, we thought, because it would, so they had a Ventura there, and the refugees jumped in the park, take it right out. And so, okay, let's put a Ventura on a tri-motor Ford, like, see. And of course, it wasn't hardly a week went by, we didn't have them on all of them yet. Take them off, take them off. Somebody put towel paper down there, and it blocked up the back end, see. So I bought this guy a new suit of clothes and everything else. That's how that worked out. But a lot of that stuff never made print.
Yeah.
Right.
Just like when we lost a propeller, right there, it never made print. It had 6 passengers, and it was taxiing on a Leone amphibian. Those are heavy deals. They couldn't make it to Catalina, Alhambra. And if the weather was too rough there, they had to come back, like, wouldn't land. They couldn't make it back, like, that we had them so beefed up and loaded. At 94th and Western, they'd come over, pick up the passengers there. If they had to come back, they'd come back to Western. They had a little reserve gas. And here, I was in the building there and heard them scream. Oh, the engine normally turning up maybe 2,600 or something. Must have went to 6,000, 7,000. Propeller was sitting out there almost about 75 feet straight at the ground. 3-bladed big propeller, weight close to 100 pounds. It spun off. He came all the way from Alhambra, way over to 94th and Western, and had kids on holding the wing. They had no brakes on it. They want to get way back in the corner so he could get a long runway deal. And the kids got on it, and he put a full blast to get the move around and tail skid out there. And that's when the prop came on. And it was an A1, not on an A shaft. That's all we got. But the newspaper never got that. Boy, I got pictures of it too. sitting in there. Boy, would that make news, like, you know, see.
Shut that up real quick.
Yeah, but that was it. Yeah, this is an Air Express model. We only built 4 of these. And then later on, Fleetster, which is Consolidate up in Buffalo, built these out of metal.
I see.
Fleetsters. Made it a little bigger.
Now, who's that built by?
I was lucky.
That's lucky.
Yeah,
Lucky.
it's the Air Express model. That had the big engine in it, and the pilot, you know, see, they figured it was always, you get, see, when you land, it's tail down on those things. You didn't have visibility, like, you know, see, on the regular rocket. Here you have more visibility, like, you know, see, on that. And they only accepted 2 of them, and but they had Will Rogers on the initial flight to Salt Lake, Western Air, and the pilot was warned these were cable brakes, that they're very touchy, like, you know, see. But sure enough, it comes into Salt Lake and he hits them too hard, over him went on his back. Okay, got him out and took him, only got hurt, took him to Salt Lake, and one of those Boeing biplanes, 90Bs, and they were a late model plane. Darn if they didn't go over on the back with Will Rogers in there, Cyan. You made it hard. Half the time I'm on my back, I get to see. He was quite an aviation guy, this Will Rogers, I get to see. But he says half the time I'm on my back. But though they never did buy them, like, you know, see, so our good friend Turner had one of them, like, with the lion. I don't know, do you recall the lion deal? He had all that lion around. I got some pictures of it, and because that lion, he's getting up almost a year old or something, and you grab his hand, he had to put this parachute on him just for publicity, like, you know, nobody was going to go back and throw that line out, like, you know, say it was a shoot, but it made good publicity, and that strap was getting kind of tight and stretched out, and I know he told me, he says, oh, and he says, the only way I get him to break his jaw, I have to talk to him, and then the line back off, like.
Yeah, I can remember hanging on the fence looking at the line.
Yeah. And they
Climbing
put,
up and hanging
oh
on
yeah,
the
they
fence.
put it in a,
It was in a cage.
yeah.
Well,
they-
it was somewhere at Lockheed.
That's right, they kept it, got too big to haul around and couldn't handle it.
I remember we went out and looked
Yeah.
at it one time.
That's right, yeah,
Drove
and
by.
it lived for quite a few years
Yeah.
after that, like, you know, see that line. But he was quite a showman, this Roscoe Turner, like, he was always, Kentucky, it was Colonel from Kentucky or something, on the National Guard, like, or something. Anyhow, he was always immaculate dressed, like, you know, see. And once that lion, when he relieved himself right over his shoe, see, he says, you know, I had to get rid of that boot. He said, never did get
Well, it was getting pretty big, I can tell you.
Yeah, so, but we had him in a lecture at our OX5 group in St. Louis, and I got to talk with him about some of those, and,
Turn the page, I think there's something on the other
yeah.
side.
Oh, yeah,
that's
here's
just
that
some
Air
more, yeah.
Express job, yeah.
Just some
see.
more, some more.
Yeah, see, I was telling
Some
about.
more of that.
Yeah, and that was quite an airplane, like, you know, see, and that high wing there, I wanted to get away from some of the faults on the Vega, like, you know, see. But I know they went and made a metal one out of it, and TWA, we had 8 of them altogether. And, but then after 34, when the air mails was canceled, the new contracts came in, you couldn't fly passengers at night with the single engine airplane.
Well, they've got the Lockheed in our museum now,
Oh,
and they happen to have an article in the paper, so I
oh
cut
yeah,
it
their
out.
trophy room.
Yeah,
Yeah, see,
our
I
own-
gave a bunch of stuff.
In our own museum we have here in Burbank.
L1011, yeah. You see, like L1011, see, they came in too late. It's a good airplane, but Boeing and all Douglas was already ahead of them, and got the choice orders, and they were around here. Delta wanted to sell 12 of them, and had a fairly run. Nobody would buy them because see, Lockheed was making their 10 years was up. They didn't have to make any parts or anything, you know, for replacement. And here couldn't figure out. 4 years later, they were buying them. They rebuilt them and bought new ones in, and everyone, and they got a good fleet now, a bunch of these, like, you know, see. But here they were trying to sell them. 4 years later, they were out buying them, like, you know, see.
Yeah.
What a difference, like, you know, see. And made a real good airplane out of it. They put a lot of refinements on it. But they can't do one. There's another way of getting out of the hole.
Another way to skin a cat. Huh?
Yeah, yeah. This is boy, This is Little Liberty. That's see, it's an old biplane there, like you know. See, that who's there? Oh, oldest nurse. Oh, these Kellys, yeah. See, there was 3 Kellys that were flying from were Western Air. Kelly 1, Kelly 2, Kelly 3, they called them. Oh yeah, here's that Major Mosley that you know your grandpa worked. He's at the flying school now they're at Glendale.
Oh, okay.
And, worked and they,
That's right, I remember.
and my good
Through Curtis Wright.
Curtis Wright, when he
Yeah,
taught
Curtis
at
Wright.
Curtis Wright.
And
These are all
believe it or
pilots.
not, we're very close. He
Those
was
are
at
famous
at
pilots.
our wedding and everything, and I worked with him, flew with him quite a bit. Plegencool's his name, Cliff Plegencool. But he went to this school, I can say. Then he went to work for TWA in 32. And I was back in Kansas City. When I come back in 36, transferred out, he had a command air, and well, we worked together
Yeah,
on
these
it.
are Western Air pilots.
Yeah, we flew. Hey, this
Western
looked like
Express
Martin.
pilots. Yeah, there's Kelly and
Jimmy James, yeah.
Jenny James. And
Yeah.
this is
Yeah. Oh yeah, Maury Graham.
Maury Graham.
Boy, remember that search they made for
Yeah.
Maury Graham? He walked away from it, like, you know, see, after he landed and snow got frozen. They found the airplane, but they walked away from it. And they, all we had.
Is that the one that flew the South Pole?
No,
Oh.
from LA to Salt Lake.
LA to
And
Salt
his
Lake.
engine quit on
was
him.
lost
Oh.
during.
Yeah.
It says here, Maury
And,
Graham.
yeah, they found the airplane, but
was
he was
lost
3 miles
during
away from
recent-
Salt Lake.
Oh golly,
Oh,
did
there's
you read that?
Longshore.
Recent something prime.
Yeah, severe weather in the mountains. Oh yeah, here it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, lost during recent severe weather in the mountains. Yeah.
That's the one.
And yeah, it was kind of a sad deal.
I think that's the reason that picture was in the
Because these
paper.
planes only went about 90, 95 miles. That's all their speed was. And they were slow in that respect, and they had these old Liberty engines in them that weren't too reliable, like NSA, but no, those fellows that.
Yeah, 3 of these guys are up here in this picture.
Yeah.
I got that down there.
Yeah,
I
it's
was
really
wondering
good.
what that meant.
Yeah. Boy,
I write everything in.
Betty, you know, she put my old stuff together, but boy, she got all the years mixed up like that. See, on it like that. See, and put
She
that-
didn't live through it like I did.
Yeah, and so this is really,
Yeah, first
And-
champion led the way.
yeah,
East to
because
west,
oh,
John.
I'm telling you, those years your grandfather was there was a lot of history made, like you know, see.
Well, there
Because
were.
see, Lindbergh, I was at flying school there. I got there in last of April, 1st of May. It was last of April. Lindbergh made the hop in May 21st, 27th. And, but he came through once when I was there. I don't know, he was on the payroll or what, but he was flying that route regularly. And it was sometime in April, and he says, well, he's still, they made the remark, he's still working for Robinson, that was the outfit, and had the mail run signals to Chicago, and they had these DHs with Liberty engines in them, and they had a surplus of them. They bought them for $1,200, $1,500 a piece, engines and all. So Lindbergh bailed out a couple of them, like that. See, when it got iced up and stuff. Because they'd have to stay there in Peoria and we'd be on the phone, and what the weather was in Chicago was 150 or 60 air miles into Chicago. And but he never, from talking to fellows there, because when I saw him flying in, there was no more than transfer to mail, and he could then use the phone, and that's all. But they say when he'd have to stay over a few hours, he never did talk very much, you know, with the rest. But his sidekick, Phil Love, and kept us abreast of what was going on. Single engine airplane to fly over all that water, like, you know, see, nobody attempted that, you know, every water hop like that. And yeah, that's just gonna do it. I can recall yet we had a small room built inside the Hanover's, our bedrooms. We lived right on the airport. You know how the old beds was with those there water hoops and the heady, pulling on them, listening to radio. It was slim to make it, you know, after they picked him up off of out of Ireland, you know. Radio followed them on in, and that was quite a deal, yeah, see. But no, and I got to talk with him. I had a good chance when he was working for TWA for a while, called Lindbergh Line. he had one of the, we had 4 of these babies. And Overton, he had one of them to go back and forth in his own semi-private deal. And I know in the windshield it had rubber in there. The sun would hit that and pulverize that rubber. And it was leaking down on these knees for rain, like, you know. I says, yeah, we've replaced. And I asked him about Phil Love. Oh, he's down in Texas, like. No, yeah, it was the other, yeah, Phil Love, yeah, that was in the 30s, yeah, 30, because Phil Love got killed during the war. So, but he was still living. Remember when Lindbergh, well, I don't know, you may remember, Lindbergh made a tour all around the country with his plane, like, you know, right after the flight.
After this flight,
And
yeah.
this fella had a Fairchild single-edged job, would always be ahead of him and make arrangements. Everything was okay for him to land, and he didn't have a mob that was out of control or something, because, gee, sometimes they did like in Paris, like, you know, they break right through the line and tear the airplane apart, like that, say. And because it's in the Smithsonian. Have you ever seen it in the Smithsonian?
No, I haven't.
It's a strictly, I found out a couple of years back. When that linen fades away, they're not to replace it. No, nothing's to be replaced. That's stated, yeah, it's the only way you let it in there, like, it's not to be replaced. And, but this Phil Love, oh, he paid me I met him in Salt Lake, and I was going to California in August 1927. And I said, gee, how's the chance of ever getting a chance to sit in the wicker basket? He says, you go here 8 o'clock in the morning. He said, I'm going to be here at 7:30. Like, you know, see, just walk in that door like you're working here, like, you know, see. And so he got a chance to sit in that, like, you know, wicker basket. Like, that was his seat. And that little scoop he had deal, you know, for looking out like on top.
So you got a chance to sit
He had
in
no
there.
forward vision at all. Only way to get forward, through that scope, like, you want to get a good view, to kick it sideways, you know, and that's what we did. We did it normally that way. With a lot of airplanes, you had no forward vision. Coming for land, you had to kick it sideways. Side slipping, that slowed you down without losing flying speed. Now they call it acrobatics. Like, you know,
I thought they still called it slipping.
yeah, but that's it. Oh, yeah, but when they don't teach the new students that, no. And they taught us that because that's how you have emergency landing, boy, you have to get in a small field. You know, you know how to
Slip
slip
it
it.
in.
Oh, yeah. And as you get
So you were able to get it to sit in?
yeah, I was able
on
to,
the lift?
yeah. Oh, I'm probably in there 4 or 5 minutes and see that. And he didn't even have no, what do you call parabol horizon, you know, artificial horizon, you know. They came out in 1930, and we would put them in these single engine mail jobs for the guys at Black Knight, you know, and the only way we adjusted after we put them in, we get them up in flight and potted to get the nose on the horizon, we put the washers behind their spacers. That's
get
the
it.
only way we get it set up right, like, you know, I say the adjustments. When I see them 15, 20 years later, all the adjustments are on there, you know, they can make adjustments. Oh yeah, I had an interesting flight to Chino last Wednesday, and he's a close friend of mine. He has an ILS permit, and he has this Saratoga now. It's got the supercharger on it and everything. He's coming over to visit us again 15th of next month, and he always stays a couple of days. But anyhow, he had to keep up his ILS deal too. So Wednesday was we only had 200-foot ceiling there at Long Beach. We had to go up through it, you know, see. And over into Chino, like, you know, we had to come down through it, and they kept us in a pattern for a while. It was clearance around. First time I was in a small plane, didn't have much fault. And he's only got one eye too. And a very close friend of our oldest boy, Nelson. They went to high school together, and I used to come around, and Nelson had a little shop where he was full of this electronic stuff. And I got talking aviation to him. Thought it was 6 months later, he come and showed me his private license, like it was. So he's been flying ever since, and he's a pretty hot shot for.
Julie, want to sit over here? I can get a smaller picture. You sit in my chair.
Yeah, for Motorola, he flies around and takes care of, and now he's doing these testing, these high lines, high tension lines, getting ready for quick.
You want to lean in a little bit, like you're looking at
Oh, yeah,
what
that's
they're doing?
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Boy.
good.
ticking all over the place.
Some things never change.
Okay,
Never
everybody
change.
free.
Very good. Hey, very good, thank you. But, this
What
is.
do you remember about the P-38?
Oh, I made some parts for them for ammunition counters. It was quite an airplane, but they had trouble beginning of the house. Couldn't handle it too
I was
good.
gonna
They
say, you
dropped
could
one
take one of us.
in right alongside
Oh,
the
all right.
shop there at the end of the Glendale runway. They'd come in over the tracks, come on down onto the runway at Glendale. That street closed off there too. And I'd watch them, they're making that turn, or that sometime, you know, wobble the wing, you know, seeing, and they were building a big pit.
I don't know what they look like.
Big storage tank.
Who knows on a Galvin horse?
Fuel for their, free fuel for Lockheed and war. And, he didn't go in this pit.
Crazy dress.
Oh,
Okay. There's one.
You just press down on her when you want to.
This one here? Which one?
Little,
This one?
little round one.
Okay.
There.
Yeah.
Do it.
Gee, that's
Right,
great. I ought to
click it
get all
real
these
quick
pictures
so
taken.
the thing will
Yeah,
come on.
this is ready. Go
Yeah,
on.
put it off. We'll just sit it there and put it away.
oh, there's the story told about the,
I didn't
there's
copy.
Lundberg.
Oh,
Well, I think that's
Yeah.
the end of the road,
see
isn't
this
it?
Bromley,
No, I never
Bromley.
pocket until I'm ready
Oh,
to
yeah,
go.
he
I
had a
did, I
seaplane.
went.
I've got pictures on the whole skis. That was
Okay.
number 2
So it's ready to
airplane.
go.
I thought it was all through.
It was for, Hearst was financing it, and, gonna go over the
Thank you,
landing.
dear.
with it. He already
Get that
had
pretty dress.
planned ahead.
Well, I have you standing up.
And they had a different type of thing. That was only finished, even after I left, and he went over the Pacific with it, I gotta say. But Bromley was his name, I gotta say. No, he had, because Lindbergh had a lot of things, in other words,
Do
especially
you want to read this?
after he
Guess you
made
don't
his
have your
flight, you know,
glasses.
the media would never let him alone, you know.
Yeah.
I guess Julie remember part of that. Well, that's right, you were pretty young. But remember the media, you know, newspaper never let him alone, like, you know, say, had to be so staggering in front of him, he'd trip over them, and boy, he just got, you know, ruled him
Well,
out.
they aren't any better today, they're only worse.
Yeah, that's it. And he's buried, we passed over his grave there.
He's in Hawaii.
I don't know why.
Is he on, the Big Island, Hawaii?
No. no, it's on
Oahu?
the- No, he's in between there, you know, see, it's a smaller island.
Molokai.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. And got this friend with helicopters down there, and Nelson, that's my oldest son, was down there, and he was riding around with him. We got 4 huge helicopters down there in the sightseeing business, you know, see. So he says, well, come on, have your dad come on down and ride around with me. And gee, they're $80 and $90, you know, a hop, like, you know, see, to go around with it. And so William, I think it was 84, 85, his first time he was down there, only time. But now this here particular plane of Lindbergh's, kept it. In other words, nothing would hinder him for, you know, all the bad weather he had waited out, and he had 2 or 3 others was getting ready to hop at the same time there. And
They
Who
got
made
the
that
whole
particular-
story in the paper
Ryan
there.
down in San Diego,
Right.
Ryan Aircraft. And I don't know if that's part of Roar or not. Is that part of Roar? The Ryan name isn't anymore, but Roar's down there, you know, making parts that make the whole nacelle for the Boeing deals. It's a big project. So I don't know if
I don't
that's.
know. I just thought Ryan was finished.
Yeah, I
mean,
thought
didn't
there
think
was
that
some of the,
there was anything.
that came off of
I
that.
don't know.
Boy, what'd you afraid a non-aviation gal, she took up with him and started flying around the world.
Flew around the
Boy,
world
that's,
herself.
that's quite a bit for a gal to,
Yeah.
not being, I mean, and, you know,
She
she.
carried on his tradition.
Yeah, she's, right on the tip of the, hey, no, this looks a little bit almost like a Vultee.
That's what it is.
Oh, yeah, where the heck?
That's the work. It says.
Oh, yeah, here it is up here, yeah, that's right, they made them at Glendale. And I know here, they did work for both.
Yeah, that's where Herb was working.
Yeah, that's right. See,
Guy
this,
walked in
it would
and
all
told him
eight
about this other
passengers in
job.
there. Eight passengers they could put in besides the, that's right, it was only for single pilot. It wasn't dual up front, like, see, that's right. So there was 9 places.
That was Glendo.
Yeah, that's very interesting. That was Jerry, he was quite a guy. And I know him and Jack used to get in arguments. And, Jerry'd want to make another hop or something. That's it. He'd tell him what the changes they'd have to do because when they're up and down the stabilizer, spruce would give so much, like, say that they only had a small ratchet.
There's your Jerry Ball too you were talking about.
Yeah, that's
test
right.
pilot.
Yeah, there's Jerry Maltese test pilot, but didn't say who it was, yeah. Yeah, that's it, because I was...
Do you remember what Grandpa did on these airplanes?
Built the gas and oil tanks. Yeah, he was a metal man.
How's that?
Did he build, Grandpa said he built the gas and oil tanks on these particular aircraft?
I don't know what your grandpa did part of it built, but I know he worked for him. Oh, I doubt if it, because it was more specialized stuff, that's one of the commonest things built, like, the gas tanks, like, see. And, well, I know I got into this hydrogen welding. We didn't have electric welding. This is back in, let's see, 29. Yeah, 29. Yeah, 29, we had hydrogen. Boy, that made a big difference on the welding for the gas tanks. Like, see, you could get a much better weld. But those folding gears were rather new then, like, see, at that time. Get them up there, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is Howard's, looks like Howard's.
Yeah, because he went from there to work for Howard.
Yes, and funny how your dad practically hired me and to work for him down in Hollywood. Then through that, and then back through Western Air, I was working for AeroCorp, Jack Fry, and Western Air bought him out. Your dad was working back in there across the room, like, and it went around. And then when Howard was getting his plane worked over, he was across the fence up here at Burbank.
Yeah, yeah, you were in Western Air at
Yeah, I was
Burbank,
TWA.
Or TWA?
Yeah.
And Howard was on
back
it, is it?
3 different times in a span of, I guess, almost less than 10 years.
Yeah.
Or yeah, about 10 or 11 years. And yeah, so that's where I met Dick Stoddard.
Oh, Dick. And that was the TWA you met Dick.
Yeah, Dick, see, they were looking things over when their dad was putting that stuff in there. And he looked me up when he knew I was in business.
Teaching at Curtis Wright.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Boy, gee. Boy,
Teaching sheet
handsome
metal.
guy here, yeah, he looked very good. Like, boy, I don't know if I knew any of these other guys. But this close friend of mine, he went through this school, and he remembers your dad.
No.
And we had a commander, and we always had the swing shift together. We flew around the afternoon at OX5 commander. And but he went on to Continental up and worked, and finally got over in the right seat. And he had a terminate. Got 65 years old. He had 33,000 pounds, 309 round trips over the Pacific. And when we started flying, I had more time than he had. But that's how it changed. Like, see, we're very close. I know he's down at Fallbrook.
I know Herb would say, some guy'd walk up to him and he'd say, "You taught me so-and-so at Curtis Wright." He said, "I'm so happy you did."
Yeah. Oh no, he praised that up very much.
They all remembered him.
Gee, boy. Gee, I don't know. I'm gonna have to bag off here, like, see, like, Diana.
Well, there's a picture of.
Hey, GB. That's a GB. Yeah, that guy signed this just died here last year. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just died here. We call that a flying gas tank. We used to call it like, They say they were awful. A number of guys got killed with them. They were awful hard to handle.
Very unstable.
That was plenty fast. It'd stay on the free-for-all for horsepower and stuff. GB is the name of it. Like, yeah, and it's trophy like see.
Yeah, we were a guest from The bendix
Oh,
took
yeah.
off.
Hey,
You turn 2 pages there
yeah,
behind.
that's right. Oh, yeah. Hey,
Yeah, see, you missed
see
your
this?
picture.
There's boss that hired me there at Lockheed. Here he's right across the room from
I
me
think he
for
did that on
3
purpose.
4
He didn't
days,
wanna
and we
show
didn't
us
know
his
that.
picture. You did that on purpose so we couldn't see your picture.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna pass it on. But no, I'm telling you, we had this, I know he was anxious to know, and he was already oh, yeah, when they had this L-1011, being as one of the original higher ups in Lockheed left, they had him come down. And he says, heck, I didn't have anything to do with that airplane, but he says they paid all the way and everything, and wine and dined him for the L-1011, you know, for a while, because he was one of the original Lockheed higher ups that were left yet, like, you know, say. But he was living in San Francisco, and he was doing pretty good, like, you know, see. He didn't fall down the steps, like, you know, see, and then had a stroke 4 days later and passed away. But,
Yeah,
boy,
there's your note.
oh, yeah.
And thanks again for letting me borrow
Oh,
a picture
yeah.
of the 2 papers of 1928.
Oh, yeah.
Best of everything to
That's
both
right,
of
to
you.
where I'm on the list.
Coming year,
And,
1984,
Yeah,
that's when you
when
wrote
I
that.
showed that to the Lockheed boys up there.
You always had the
Oh.
pretty stamps on.
Oh, yeah, and I talked to these boys, and a
Hello?
photographer come in and took some pictures, and they pretty.
Yes, Lorraine. Well, I'm just fine. I'm
Three,
sitting
four
here looking at a
guys
couple
come
of
in
you
and
people
pointed
that you
my
know.
name, and here he is. They couldn't get over.
Yeah.
1928. Somebody's
Oh,
still living yet.
My
You know,
grandmother
see.
was just talking your legs off.
Those
here.
early days, if you
And I
hung
think
around
that
airplanes, you weren't
fell
supposed to
through
live
us
very long.
about a
You know,
10-inch book,
that was
but
the
it
old
was
saying
about
goes
3
like, you
inches,
know,
so
see, because, you
don't
know, the
expect your
different
husband home for
crack-ups
a
they
while.
had, like, you know, see,
You wanna
did
talk to
it,
him?
they
He's
said,
here.
well, you never lived, I suppose.
Your better half, Dana.
This was it. Colorado Springs. Yeah, this is Colorado Springs. Oh, yeah, it's,
Hang on
you
just a
see
second.
these stamps too.
Everything.
Now I was lucky,
Yeah.
they put a Jenny airplane last year.
Oh, okay.
February, I found out about it. Put the gift 12
Jenny
stamps
already?
out by a whole sheet. You know, see,
Yeah.
out of
Guess you didn't
48
talk
or
to
something,
me.
only 1/4 of them. I still got some of them,
Yeah.
yeah, I gotta say, because I handle our mail.
He always had the prettiest stamps, and I saved them all.
Oh, yeah, I got a few of these yet, but I got OX5, you know,
I figure they'll
Jenny.
be valuable someday.
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
Probably valuable now.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Stamp
it's got that,
collectors.
yeah.
Ernie, how about since we're running some short on time, why don't we get into Hughes a little bit real
Oh,
quick?
yeah,
and Things that
yeah.
you know.
Okay, well, what your grandpa did, invited me over on, the factory.
Hughes is way back here.
Yeah, the factory on, when they had, what do you call, for employees only, you know, see.
So after he went to Curtis, and he taught, and then he went, where'd he go after
I'm
that?
pretty sure that was an extra job, like, you know,
Right.
see, it was.
Yeah, he was working nights.
And he
there,
was for
teaching
volunteer.
school. He was teaching school at Curtis, right?
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure he was working for Ball T on the same airport. at the
Okay.
time.
They're both at Glendale.
Yeah, both in Glendale.
Okay, then where'd he go after that?
And,
That's when he went to
to Western Air,
To Western Air for a
Western
short
Air.
time.
yeah, then, from Western Air, he went to Hughes, as far as I can say, he went to Hughes, because he had already left, with Hughes before, we formed TWA, see. We formed TWA August the 1st, 1930.
What do you mean Hughes? How
What?
could he lose
Wait.
Hughes? He worked for Hughes for
He didn't-
32 years.
He didn't say
Oh.
that, Mother.
Oh, and
He
we,
didn't say that.
he left, we formed TWA in 1930, and he'd already went to Howard Hughes before that time.
Yeah.
Because we were together with Western Air for a short time there, about a year, like that. And then during that year, it went with Western Air, or
Went over to
Hughes, with Hughes, like that, see. Yeah, so, and I know he was in charge over there.
Bruce Burke, you remember him? I've got here very dear shop family friends of hers. Bruce
The name,
Burke
I
was one
can't
of them.
place him like, neither is.
And Ed Lund,
Oh,
his
yeah, Ed
wife.
Lund, yeah.
You remember him, one that went around the world.
When did Ed get married? Because I
I
don't,
wouldn't know.
I want to know who this is a really go. She was a world for some
Well,
world newspapers, and that was his girlfriend out in
I'll have to
'73.
ask Junior, she
And
probably know that.
she stepped off the curb and broke her ankle there in Phoenix at 1:30 in the morning.
Look at
Holy
the Horn
cow.
kids here, one of the picnics.
Boy,
There's Julia, there's Ernie.
gee. Well, wait, this 1940.
40, yeah,
This can't be 40.
that's where it is.
You're more than 13. You're not 13 years
In
old.
40, I was in high
Huh?
school. Huh? I was
Yeah,
in
yeah. This is that date is right. That could be 1930.
No, it was 40.
Because
The
you
high
were
school.
you were
No,
3
you're
years old.
like 8 years old here.
Oh,
That's what he's saying.
You guys, because when I first met you, you were less than 3 or just coming up 3 and 27. So this could be 3 more years later.
Yeah.
That should be 1930 here. For round numbers.
Hughes picnics, when was Hughes
That's
having
you.
the picnics?
This could be 19.
oh yeah, that's not
It should be
1940.
30.
but
It should be 30.
No way. Look how old I
Yeah.
am.
Well, you're about 6 there, aren't you?
Maybe
7?
that's not me. Maybe that's Herbie.
That is her.
That's not me.
That's Roberta and Ernie, yeah.
That's Roberta
Oh,
and Ernie.
yeah, that's right. Then the date is right.
Yeah.
They
You were
took all-
grown up, you did associate.
They took all the prizes that day.
Anybody was 3, 4
Oh, I
years
always used to
older,
do
They took
younger.
all the prizes that day. It's one of the Hughes picnics that we
Oh.
had up at,
Okay, well, let's get,
Yeah. Well, you asked me
before we have to
questions.
lose.
And,
well, I don't know where you can stop, there's no ending.
oh boy, yeah.
These
And you
are
got the one big picture.
Old timers
See, I used
picture.
to get the group together, and I know you got a
These
picture
are the
like
old
this.
timers, yeah.
Now, I got a big picture, I gave her taken over to our place like that. I had the old TWA gang to get together.
Well, do you know how his career went with Hughes? That's,
Yeah, well, as far as I know, then he was in charge of their waste department for a while there, and they
is
recovered.
that what he got hired
recovered-
on for?
No.
No, he
No.
was in the metal business.
Okay, he started with the metal
Metal,
shop.
yes.
And he
He
worked
built-
on the H1.
Now, here you
He
stop.
built the
racer
gas
plant.
the racer gas
Oh,
That was
station.
number one, the racer.
Is that why he went to work for Hughes? in the
Yeah,
first
that's
place?
what I.
It's all right here.
Yeah.
He retired in '66.
Yeah.
He worked for Hughes for 32 years.
Very good.
But when they moved to, he was superintendent.
Yes.
Aerial
He was-
plant site,
He was
Culver
made
City,
plant superintendent,
44.
and
what-
he ran the shop at Lockheed. All the time at Lockheed, he was plant
Yeah, we,
superintendent.
That's right,
we've been
yeah.
all through
It-
that.
Yeah,
In
and
charge of
then
the metal
from
department.
there- Yeah,
Yeah,
no, the
Lockheed.
whole thing. He was running
He was a superintendent for a while. And
Not
then he was-
Lockheed.
then he
no,
was
no,
head of the-
Hughes.
Oh, Hughes.
When they were at Lockheed, when they were at the Lockheed plant. Daddy was plant superintendent for Hughes.
Oh, when they were building his airplane.
Then when they moved to Culver City, he was plant superintendent for a short period of time while he was down there.
At the metal
But-
department, yeah.
But then, when they brought in, they enlarged so, and they brought in, the guys from Texas, that's when they split everything up, that's when he went into salvage.
Yeah, I know one time, yeah, Charles told me how they recovered gold from, out of their waste deal.
Yeah.
They were, gold was quite a expensive deal to get a hold of at that time. It was still under certain government regulations, and it was started because they, $400 a day, they would dump it down the drain. See, it was going to waste, and it was quite a ticklish deal to charge of, get that organized. I don't know if he stayed very long on that, because when they built the boat, well, that was going backwards. I know he invited me down there, and I know I was up in the cockpit, and I know that Sunday they hauled that big fuselage down there. I flew over and took some pictures of it going down the highway there, and as it had all the traffic blocked off.
I've got his cards here. 1940 to 42, he was factory superintendent at Hughes.
Yeah,
Then
that's
here,
right, yeah.
from 42 to 52, he was plant engineer, staff engineer they called it.
Uh-huh.
Then from
Real good,
53 to
yeah.
retirement in 66,
Yeah,
he was Hughes's aircraft, what they call it?
Salvage?
Yeah, here,
Reclamation.
reclamation, disposal.
Reclamation
Yeah,
disposal.
yeah, it was
10
rather,
years.
very
Yeah.
responsible deal. They were really cutting on. waste.
He
Depart-
sold
yeah.
all the waste. He made
Yeah.
some money for him.
Oh, yeah.
Then he retired in August of '66.
Uh-huh.
He had this made up. No
Oh, yeah.
phone, no address, no business,
Oh,
no
that's-
money. He had
Yeah,
that made
that's
up.
pretty good, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that-
I've seen them, but not
That's
everything.
like my
No
herd.
phone, yeah, and,
Yeah, no phone, no business,
yeah,
no address,
yeah, obviously,
and no money.
yeah.
Retired August 1966.
So what airplanes did you know of that he worked on at Hughes that were,
Well, they worked on the Spruce Goose, I know that. It's
Spruce
quite a bit.
Goose, that was the first
That's-
beautiful one.
Yeah,
the
that
big
was a
one.
big one.
That's this
And
one
the
here.
see, that was right after the war was over, and then they finished it up. And he, probably before the war was ended, he probably was working on it too. They started it, but the last year of the war, or the year before then, Howard finished it.
But, when Howard was out here, before he went to Culver City, before the Spruce Goose, they didn't really build any airplanes, did they? Didn't he
Well,
just
built the
buy
Racer.
airplanes?
The
He
Racer
bought
was built
airplanes
in the
and.
30s,
It was the
before the
racer.
war.
Yeah, but what about the one, most of, then the other airplanes he had out there were bought from Lockheed or somebody else, and then they changed them around or something. What
Well-
about the one they took back to New York that he worked on? He had to go back there and
The
check.
Sikorsky, when they went to get a Sikorsky for him to go around the world.
He was gonna fly around the
And
world?
they flew it home, they knew it was too slow, and then
Right,
they were.
Daddy
Yeah.
flew it and
So
went
then-
Yeah, I
there.
remember.
When
See,
he
that
went
was
to
in the
Lockheed.
30s.
Yeah,
In the 30s.
It was
And,
about
and then
35,
they built
I
that
think.
racer that I figure the Japs copied off of and
Yeah.
made their
they're,
Zero?
Zero.
Darrow, yeah, because it's got a lot of. You know,
Looks a lot like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, and so now that racer, and then as far as I know, I remember as
Trying to break your brain, you should.
and they
look
went
it up. It's all
to see
here.
Lockheed was building. They had two twin engine deals, and but then they enlarged them and made the Hudson, like see. His was one of the first ones, like see, and it was much faster than the DC-1, and so he went for that, like see, and then they remodeled it because I got some pictures of it. They had it parked out in front of TWA hangar for a while.
And a party at Slapsy Maxie's. We're hobnobbing the
Okay,
bird
then.
there.
oh, during the war, Hughes didn't do
Jack
anything?
German, do you remember Jack German?
How's that?
Do you remember Jack German?
Oh, yeah, I didn't know him personally, yeah, but the name,
Pointed.
yeah, oh, I heard
After
comes in too,
superintendent.
where Howard almost got his neck broken. That they built us two special, and finished them up at the war was over, and they were metal with special twin engine deals. You had to counter two props on the same engine, one operate, one went the other way. And I know he worked on that, see. And they was told, Howard was told, not over 20 minutes, your flight, like they'd already been tested out, because they would lose their oil in the propeller hub, like see, your dad gave me all that, Emperor gave me all that information. Then they would lose all their oil. These are experimental propeller hubs. And so they figured if they told him 20 minutes, if he maybe take an hour, 20 minutes later, the props froze up. He was over there in Wilshire District at Beverly, close to Beverly Hills, when that engine quit. It decided to rotate and threw the airplane all out of control. And he went on into these houses like see, and a Marine happened to be by there on leave or something, was able to get him out of there like that before he burned up like see. That Marine is still getting $200 a month. He wouldn't take anything. He said that was $200 a month was quite a bit then.
Yeah.
He said, well, so I just read here a few years back.
He's still
he's
getting his $200.
$200 a month.
So Hughes didn't do much for the war effort except.
No, he built that.
The
Spruce
plane was
Goose.
supposed to do
Spruce
it,
Goose
but
was
the
supposed-
war
but
was
they were
over
too
with before
slow.
they.
See,
Right
Kaiser,
here,
Hughes was a rather hard guy to get along with.
supposed to carry
certain
750 Yanks.
things. Yeah, that's right. Metal was very scarce, like, and didn't know how long this war was going to go on.
It was called the Hughes
And
Hercules,
Kaiser,
a seaplane,
he was
cargo
building
plane.
battleships and other crude stuff, no precision stuff or anything. From what I read, some history, they didn't get along together. But anyhow, Kaiser stepped out of it. And even before the war ended, Hughes was finishing that up. But anyhow, the war ended, and they wanted to cancel it in Washington. See,
Howard wouldn't.
Howard didn't want to cancel it, like, you know.
Oh, he
He had
took
some
over.
technicalities there too, they should have went further on, so he finished it up. He said he put $19 million of his own in it, like, you know, see, later on, and flew at that short distance there,
Right.
like, yeah. But I know your grandpa kept me posted on, that has 30 guys there, worked all over the time, that he'll look for splices out on spruce. See, that spruce had laminated, was pressure plastic, like you put up, plastic was entered into the grain of the wood, so there would be no deterioration from dry rot. So we're back, when we lost Newton Rock, that was a Fokker wood wing, dry rot over on that. We lost 7-foot wing, March 31st, 1931. We flew them for another year and a half yet, but we took one back to Dayton, broke it all up, and noticed sandbagged it. Took 48 inches before the wing started to crack up, but we tore the front end off the leading edge out there. It was different colors on the spruce spar. You could dig some of your fingernails out dry rot.
From the dry rot.
Yeah, so that was the end of the Fokkers.
Yeah.
They were faster and quieter than the Ford, but the Ford stayed together, like you see, so we finished till we got.
So what what actually did Grandpa do on the Spruce Goose, do you remember?
Well, as far as I know, it was all that metal cowling, see all those 8 engines out there, like, you know, see, there was a lot on the side of that cowling, I know you mentioned that, like, you know, see, there's quite a bit of metal work on those. Have you ever seen it down here? You've seen it down here, see, look at all that metal on there, he had quite a bit to do with that metal on there. Because I know he took me all through, and I couldn't stand up in that spar of the cockpit, you know, reach the top. That was quite a treat. I was supposed to be a family member when they took me
There's
through.
the only secretary they ever had, just one gal.
Yeah.
She did it all.
Yeah.
And then after the flying boat, you,
News from Hughes, that's one
Yeah,
of their
well,
letters.
See, he built that metal job, and I know, and 2
And that's
experimental.
Terman, another big
which
Exactly.
one was the metal job? The,
I think- yeah.
is that the racer you're talking about?
No,
what-
it was the same time they were building Spruce Goose. Before it was completed, they were building his twin engine.
Oh, the one that
one
was.
that he crashed.
Mother was staying, yeah, it was quite a experimental high-speed
I see, with the
deal.
counter-rotating
And it was
props.
experimental with those 2 blades on one engine.
I see.
And he was warned not to stay over 20 minutes. I
Yeah.
figured he would go over, but he was hard to get along with, like, you know,
Yeah.
down the line. This Dick Stoddard, all his dealings with him, he started up electronic business right after the war. He never could get together, and I finally, after a year and a half, took his abuse, you might say, he went on his own, business. I did all these metal work, I was telling you earlier there. Yeah, well, gee, oh yeah, hey, I got some pictures from the air on this deal coming down the highway. It was
Yeah.
on a Sunday.
Yeah,
These were taken on a Sunday. Here they got marked here Saturday. Maybe they started out and finished today, and then that was.
Well, they were
So
taking
what other
it
aircraft
really-
after the Spruce
They
Goose?
were building
Do you
it to
remember?
the ocean.
What other aircraft?
Well, they didn't build any. He went into the
He went
helicopters.
into helicopters.
Helicopters.
that,
He
so-
designed his own helicopter. That's a 500. The little one first, the 300 they called it. I'm
Yeah.
sure. And
Because I think Daddy was out of it by the time they started the helicopters.
Yeah, he retired.
Daddy had retired.
yeah. Well, they were building it when they built it sometime. When did he start building helicopters? 60s, I guess, or something. Because Hiller was building it, and Hughes wasn't building it then. See, I got tied in financially with Hiller's deal, and then they had to forget about that coaxial deal, and they went to tail rotor when the Korean War broke out.
Yeah, they had to tow the Hercules down to the water.
Oh boy, here it's after 5 o'clock. Well, listen, I'm gonna
There they are,
have
where
to
they've
take.
got
I got a
it.
camera out.
They've
now.
got it now, they've got it in the water now.
Oh yeah, boy, that was quite. Yeah. I'm sorry. Time really went so much. Gee,
Well, we got some of it, and we
We'll have
appreciate
to,
you.
we'll have to continue on this again, if you don't mind, sometime. I know it's a pretty heavy book to
Is
bring
that the
back to
grading,
Maywood.
dock
Start
site,
with that back, shove it
platoons
back with
and
it.
both
Yeah.
wings have crossed?
When are you gonna bring this book back to Sun City?
Are you
Huh?
kidding?
Sure. Something
gonna
called
be
Sin
right
City,
here.
but I don't know what it might be.
I'm not going to Sun City.
Well, we got a lot of people back there.
Well, can you
Older
give
than
us
are.
your,
Huh?
can you give me your one memory of Grandpa that you cherish, or something that you remember about Grandpa? That
Now, the first one I was telling you, that was early. I hadn't worked for him more than probably 5-6 months when he says, I wish I had more like you. Because I knew what he was doing. He was showing me, and I knew he needed another tool. I would go get it, bring it up here. He made that remark. That was, and then at different times when we get new project, like, say, he was at, well, let me go, he'd always tell me, go ahead as far as you can, and let me know, like, when you get busy, like, say. And that was quite an honor for me,
Yeah.
go as far as you can. I was telling him, this Jerry Valti, he used to bring sketches back, and then let her figure the rest of it, like, say. Then they made a print of it, and he was double-crossing her to a certain extent. I was only 19 years old then. He'd come back, I worked some overtime myself to get there, and he'd come back and ask me, how's Herb gonna do this? He'd pick up this sketch he left there. And I know Dad already explained it to me, how we're gonna do this. And here I overheard Jerry Valti talking the same thing, and I repeated it. So that cut that off, like, say. And no, your dad and I were very close, like, see, because, boy, I know we would rush home here, especially Sundays, try to gobble it. Sometimes 40 would only supposed to get 30 minutes. And Sunday we took a little more and rushed back up, I gotta say, because we'd always come back here for a hot meal May would have for us. She was always ready on the time. Yeah, you got quite a book here.
Oh, this is something.
So you actually
Hey, wait.
had to work Sundays also here?
Oh, yeah. We
Oh,
worked
heavy.
7 days a week?
Yeah, oh, yeah, it was right, to get those air racers out all through summer of 28. Yeah. Yeah, I want to get a picture out. I didn't bring no flash with me, and these don't,
That's the XF 11.
see, these don't look like
Well,
any, as far, but there's 2 props. Could be something, but that's one.
yeah, it's 4 props.
Yeah, well, there's 4 blade, yeah.
Yeah, 4 blades, I
But,
should say.
No, you got.
Well, thank you, Herman.
Oh, thank you.
We appreciate your
Yes, quite
Except
a treat.
11.
How's that?
Except 11, that's the one he was
Yeah.
flying.
Oh, and all down the line, because we always had, I know we went, they call it the flying, the Rooster, big restaurant over there by the airport, the cocktail. You heard the
Tail
name?
of the cock or something?
Yeah, Tail of the Cock. Here, so I heard, throughout Orange Time, I knew them. Here they had Alan Lockheed, John Douglas, and
He made Time Magazine.
let's see, beside Ryan, Claude Ryan, and one more, and I took her there, and I know he got the biggest brag out because even Douglas, he remembered him. They had Donald Douglas from way back in Allen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, oh, Jack Northup, yeah, it was the 4th 11th there in this banquet they had. And it was quite an honor for me to have him and hear them talk about it.
Howard says money, brains, and fun sometimes.
Yeah.
That was on the Time Magazine.
Yeah, oh, yeah. And that's,
So if you got money
Oh,
plus
yeah.
brains, well, you
well,
can have
I'm
anything you
gonna
want, I
have
guess.
to ask you sometime when we visit. I hope to look through that. I know you've been over it. It's kind of boring for you. It was too slow. They knew it was only 200 miles an hour. And gee, the cost-
Everything was already going to, that's
yeah, everything is up over 300, like say, and seaplanes
That all turned on?
have to build so strong, take the for landing, and they're not practical.
Yeah.
Howard was a cute little boy, look. Isn't he cute?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, gee, I'll be there. Yeah, listen, if you don't mind, Julie, especially I'm glad you're here.